They were the blue and my the way man. Sabrina, we're planning and not moment in near. General Jamba, I say Oriolo. Monta Doctor Womboy, the way man, make our bang one. And he said, the block, merci beaucoup. Encore la magie, et puis à des démons. Aïe, et puis à des démons. Si on j'ai été plié, des amis, on est black, on to them. Et pas pour faire de prévu de votre asaro. Et dans le petit yabonya, tu prends pour dire que tu as des manouos. Oui, oui, oui. Nyobe Monica yo. Você vai ver amanhã, mon papa, connaît-vous firme. Merci beaucoup. Et bien, voyez, aïe, voyez. Et la dernière personne, c'est beau. Le très ancien Yves Kané, à Seigneur Okaï. Le grand frère Oula Michael. Allons seulement. Les voyez, mais. Et la somme, non, les voyez, mais. Classé maintenant, les voyez, mais. Loi sans ma boîte, les voyez, mais. Panon, tiens, ma noite, les voyez, mais. La wadi matuma da bewe me. J'étais Florent. Oui, des sont des effets. Y'a bien patient de we ready. On est chichi, mon yaway. On m'en a d'abi et j'apprends. Pour j'apprends mon pédio. Quand y'a ton plaisir, soit fort ready. Soit fort le siaye, et je y papa. Mon yaway que ouais. T'as mon époix pour ça. Wait, yeah, wait. You the no place, so yeah. Casonzia Cabra, the way. Bonia Saba, go the way. Poor Sagi, go the way. You want to suffer the way. The would do the way, the four do the way. Where they way you. Mon grand frère Armel, depuis très longtemps. Pour le way where the poor mamadi. Because the way they must appear agitated. For the way where the poor mamma, there was a way there, they are your mamma. For the way where the poor woman, there was a way there that on your house and more. The way there was someone more dear. One idea in a guide, no pom. Oh, the idea, your money, my young way, you to that. Calvé, there was a lot. Mais qui t'y est, t'as y allé tout y est, à aussi des Français. Qui est pointé en soi pour la soin d'un way et ton daddy. Ouais, c'est le magasin sound, yeah. Kawa ma pama was a sound, yeah. They give my yakini, my was a sound, yeah. Wait, come on. Where that anyway? Where you bring go away? Where you need anyway? Then you know anyway. Oh, what that dear was smooth again, you must want. I am a poor anyway. Oh, yeah, no money, my job way down way, you don't daddy. You don't daddy. You don't daddy. Mama, you are by your web. I go to where they will do about. Jabet to a foul. And I'm away, you don't daddy. Mama, no, did I get I never want to the Ula. Oh, Simon, you do, you pray. Mama, way, you don't daddy. I never buy my water, is I'm right. I don't care. When I am down, I am going on the cloud. Mama, way, you don't daddy. I don't have any more glass. Yeah, ọmọ jáàtò di yà ọ̀ka yọ inú bá yà ó ṣe mọ́ fàyígbà ní àwọn ọmọ kan wé ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ̀ dìde. wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ ètà sí níbu wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ gbogbo nù Bayan Claudio, Popion de Ponta, yo Jepoma. Tayas gracias a Maposia, yo data, que Mapongway, Mamma Banya, you Babunda, be a president of Cuba, and I'm Colonel Penasa Marie, Yao Kai, Yao Diawe, Mapongway, Why was the Cabo Masana Maflua, the Bab of the Top of Money, you're not the way man, I'm a German man. Majamane meme won matonyo. Why just ya assembly when you love you you say mamborupia you na tonja namna me modeta you say amaje we me you na be we me the way me the way me you na so man no be we me passe matno ale the way me tu asa o magwata the way me.
Okay, good evening. Good evening. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I'm Afonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. It's Friday, and as usual, we are here. The panelists will be here, and we're going to be having a wide range of conversation right here this evening on the Diaspora Informative News outlet, Liberia Public Radio. Good evening, good morning to whatever you are. And we want to welcome you to this program here, as usual, here to take on a wide range of community issue. And so, to very short, the group going to be here, and we will have a discussion here. Just let me do some little bit. Let me do a little bit housekeeping here, and we will get the program going to right here from the East Coast. And the panel is going to be right here this evening. We want to welcome our members, our viewers, our listeners. Mr. James Molly. We said Big Gibate. We said Anita. Quakanons, and all of you great people, we say good evening to welcome. If you are just joining us, just do us a favor, hit the share button and invite someone at your company so that we all can have a conversation that is good for the country. And let's make sure we keep it proportional as well, because it's about Liberia, not about our own personal feelings. Yes, so we have to undo this attitude of inserting ourselves into national conversations. Is not good for the country. And I know sometimes emotions and things take away, but it's good that we put that aside in order to have a good conversation. I am Afonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Just bear with me quick. We are doing a little bit housekeeping here to get the ball rolling, and as soon that happens, we will get the program on the way. If you're just joining us, we say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for being part of today's program. Alice Battles, thank you so much for joining, whatever you are. Just do us a favor. For the 4 or 3 or number of persons, just hit the share button, wherever you are, so that someone too can be part of our tonight conversations. It is important that we have these conversations on the daily basis for the good of the country, no matter which way it goes and how we find it to be in terms of it's not in our favor. It doesn't matter. But let's make Liberia to be the one to profit this national conversation. Thank you so much for coming. Smith, thank you so much. Mianak Smith, hopefully I'm calling this name here. Let me not call stuff here. And by the way, the stars here, so just do us a favor. You can close your eye and send us a star. Welcome to this program. I'm Afonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio. To our many viewers and listeners, we say welcome to this Friday editions with the panelists. The panelists are going to be joining us here very shortly to discuss a wide range of issues, news making headlines in Liberia and other parts. And of course, you are most welcome. Of course, your voice will never be left out of the same because it's about a country. So let's get a ball rolling here and we will get the program to moving right now from the East Coast. Good morning, Liberia. Good morning, USA. Good morning, Europe. Good morning, other parts of the world. Welcome to this editions of LPR-TV Live with the panelists. I am your host, your chief Angle Alfonso Zain. So right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for sharing your evenings, your mornings, your afternoon hour with us. Without you, we can do this. And this is why we are always here to have these national conversations for the good of the country. It doesn't matter. We don't take people's feelings. Your feeling will be your feelings. We do not have ultimate control over that. That I can tell you. But we respect that because you're a human being. You know, some party feelings, party sentiments, political leader sentiments going to kick in. But what we try to do here as much as possible is to make Liberia the primary maritime into these national conversations as we run into these major conversations. Let me welcome a friend and brother. That's the senior senator of Mosorado County, the Honorable Sir Joseph, the incumbent. Alain, he's seeking re-election. I don't know, after 9 years, what he still wants to do. The work is still incomplete. Hopefully, we're going to find time as well. We want to welcome the Honorable Sir Joseph joining us here. He's a strong follower of this network. So thank you so much for being part of tonight's conversations. Very shortly, we'll get the ball rolling. And let's just bring this here. The legendary Kai Jerawule, he's a former minister of government, Republic of Liberia. He used to be my immediate boss when I was with the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications. He's going to be launching his new book. The book is here. It's still available. It's available on Amazon. Yet Liberty Hijack. This book here, if you read this book, trust me, you will be equipped to know the history of your country and moreover. So we want to encourage everybody to get a copy as possibly as you can, so that you will be able to, know more about your history. And part of that, we don't know about it. We don't know the history about our history, where we're from, and how we got here. So that has become a problem in international conversation as well. And so people make up and create things. Okay, let's get a conversation started. Our senior contributor, Koto Jalabalayan, is standing by in New Jersey, right here across the border of the Empire State. She's joining these conversations. Let's get a ball rolling. Thank you so much for joining us. Our man, Keto from the Constitution State, he's a strong supporter of the government as well. Joining us here, Sis Angie. Thank you. James Halawanga, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we're also going to be having another strong government supporter here. So he's an advocate, but he also believes in the government, the work of President George Weah. And that's why we want to have every voices for on this network. That's what makes it Liberia Public Radio. It's not CDC Radio. It's not Liberty Party Radio. It's not Unity Party. It's not ANC. And the rest goes on. Liberia, it constitutes all of the political subdivisions and no one intent to leave behind. So, Sam Wallot, Leo, good evening, good morning. Let me go to New Jersey and bring in Madam Balayans is our senior contributor, and hopefully the rest of the panelists are going to be joining us. Yes, let's get a ball started here this evening. Okay, there we go. Madam Koto Jalabalayan is our senior analyst based in New Jersey. You know what? Let me give, today is Friday. Let's give some kind of color here, dangerful color here, not to cause trouble, but I'm not a rare guy. Is this one okay, or we should go back to the same one, yellow? Which one? Let me do, your microphone is muted. Is this one?
Red.
Are you a Barrow woman?
Yes.
We, I'm an IE man, so then what a
Well,
problem.
that competition, huh?
So okay, my finger that put it one day, unfortunately, I can't move it now. So
That cheating. That cheating,
uh,
man.
okay, let's do it your way. Okay, George Alonso Camara, you guys are pro sedition, but wow. So sedition, are they not Liberians or what? Koto, where are they from?
They are Liberians.
Hmm. Maybe I would feel more guilty if I was talking about something. If I can't talk about Liberia, talking about like Burkina Faso, which of course is a part of Africa. News all come from there, but and I respect his view. But there seems to be some of the problem that we are having. The ability to understand where other people are coming from, other people talking point, how to see. This is almost like one would say controlling people's life because assuming this network is pro seditions according to him, which is far from the reality. I mean, but we are open up to criticism. You can call me whatever you want to call, as long as it's not an insult. That's not a problem. But this is part of what killed the substance of national conversation. It will begin to segment and divide. The country is already divided. If we can sit as a people to talk about the future of our country, you support Boyka, other people support Gonglo. Bottom line, they are Liberians. The eagerness is that they want the best out of their country. It's how you process and interpret the message of your supporter. That's what matters. So I'm afraid when we have thousands of people moving in this direction, then more or less, and such a party comes to power, then they become presidents of that group instead of becoming presidents of all of the political subdivisions in the country. Good evening, welcome. Well, but we respect Mr. Kamara view. Opinions are not facts, of course. So good evening and welcome. Any news? Any news from the ambassador? To hearing a lot of things happening. What's going on? Is he getting closer to his point of making some critical decision? What is the holding? What's holding back? Koto.
How to say thank you, Mr. So, and I want to say hi to our people in Liberia and those all around the world right now that are listening to us. And to those that will come later to listen to us, I want to say hi wherever you are at this moment. I'm sorry, Mr. Kamara, this is not pro CDC. You know, as you may claim, if that was the case, maybe I wouldn't be here. But even if that's a pro CDC, I like to be the place where that place is pro where I can be able to win somebody over. So I think he should stay and see if there is pro that he could win somebody over. For me, I like to stay where I have challenge that I can overcome my challenge in that era. So I beg you can stay, okay?
Yeah, email man, Georgie, stay. One of your men coming on here at another Camara, so maybe he's a pro-government supporter. But that's the beauty of this network. We make a commendation for all. We don't think because you're not part of, you support this group, you can't come. That's not how society works. That's not how community works. We have a lot to do. But just stay with us, so you're going to listen to, you can call and also express your view in terms of our talking point. But go ahead.
Yeah,
And
and this is why
yes,
I think we have problem in our country because I saw all along, even when I was running as representative, I had seditions that were in my camp, and I respected their view that they love George Weah, and I didn't support George Weah. So we work together cordially. It's just unfortunate that this time around, Liberians can just sit and discuss, their various candidates and their opponents. It's disheartening because I think this is where we should be. Because I remember the 2011 election, we were there and we coordinated, we worked together, despite our different aspirants or whatever candidates we had. We were working together, but I'm just surprised that it is the other way around this time. That we
Yeah,
can.
you're the politician nowadays. Is challenging. Um, and that's a serious problem. If a librarian cannot afford to accommodate one another, that line of reasoning, to have that sort of intellectual engagement, even whether you agree with me or not. I think it affords people the opportunity to see exactly what people represent, why they are doing what they are doing. But when we becomes more or less judgmental, oh, this person is this person, you know, and this is a network. We don't turn people off. Even some people will be saying, oh, the thing that men talking that we're calling, cut them off. We don't, unless otherwise you violate our own set policy in terms of discipline, the respect for one another. We don't do that here. So even if you're for ANC or the unborn party in Liberia, you are most welcome on this network. If you want to make your voice heard, you're most welcome. Let us know, and we're going to bring you in as well. But you know, this is a serious problem. Okay, let's get to our conversation here at LPR TV Live. What's going on from your end today? What are you hearing? So let me get it. Let me get the G's. I'm hearing what his name? Jeremiah Kun Jeremiah. This that. What's going on? How is the ambassador? Is he coming up here as we hearing again or what?
Well, he has to be to places. He has to go around to meet his people, to meet his supporters. I wouldn't have problem with that if he has to. So, and what's going around, the latest information I'm getting is the ambassador's speech, and then
Yes, it's
the
now on the
the
agenda.
press release from the University of Liberia president. Those are issues that I think we can discuss, and others that will come out. But for now, I have the two on my mind.
Okay, the other group going to be joining us here, and no questions, the ambassadors. He reminds me about Ambassador William Swin during the date of Samuel Doe. Very few diplomats they try to keep a low diplomatic profile, but this guy, knowing his background, it almost reminds me about William Swin when he was there. Very vocal. But there's a divided house. I seen people getting in the throats of the ambassador. Other people saying now, oh, Liberia is a sovereign country. People are so forgetful. When there's crisis, then they want international community. They want Americans to to intervene. But when she speaks, and for any reason it doesn't sound right into this other political group or supporter of certain party, it becomes offensive, and they begin to kind of like get at. This is quite amazing. You're going through that speech there. What did you gather? What do you think the ambassador was really talking about? Let me see here. I think I have it here. Let me just see what I can put part of it here. Yes, Ambassador McCarthy.
You can maybe put on glasses now because I don't
No,
want
no, not to read. I just want to
to.
give some sort of visual to our follower to see it. Because people will say, oh, they are interfering into our internal affairs. Come on, give me a break. Let me move this here as well, because people have saying that here. What do you think the ambassador, what was he really speaking? What was he really talking about? Did he sound, from what you read, and you can express your view as well, he sounded any offensive to a particular group or group of political party, as others seems to interpret it to be? Is that what he sends out from the ambassador conference to release there?
come from a different perspective. The thing about reading and understanding most of our problem, I'm one of those who have problem with reading and comprehension. And this is the problem we have. Somebody just come up and say, oh, the ambassador says so thing. People don't go to read to understand what the content is, and they just blow alarm out of nowhere. That's what I see right now. The ambassador spoke, and it's not against one person. It's not government in favor. It's not in favor of government, neither oppositions. It's just the understanding, and it is true that people just get on their blue eye because it's cheap, it's nothing, and we just come out. We talking is free, and so many of us. Not many people here will say the truth. Some people come, like for example, I'm pro boycott. Then I come some of the things boycott doesn't do. That's why if you ask me about boycott and I don't know anything, I will tell you I do not know. I ain't coming to make a story about boycott. And that's what some people do. They want to be known. They want to be like in connection with this person. I know this person. I know the president. They want to show up. But this is not the statement from one against one group that the ambassador put out there. You know, the comprehension problem we have, I do have that problem until I came here and I started to learn how to read and comprehend. Because we so many are just recapture the sometimes the sensational headlines, and we just run with it. Read the content and understand. If you just can't read one time and understand, read for the second time or the third time if possible. Then you grab the content. But this is what
Okay.
happens. Not many people have grabbed the content. They're just flying out there. It is against them. But I think it's not for or against anybody. It is for the Liberian people and it's against the Liberian people. So that's what I think about this whole press release. And maybe if you will ask me, the only thing I would tell you that didn't make sense to me, it was about the FGM. That didn't make sense to me because the FGM, that is another topic by itself. I don't even want to raise that line because maybe when we get into it, it's a different issue by itself. And I can give evidence and I can give anything concerning that FGM and I can defend it to the fullest. So that's just something I felt that was not even something he did discuss because he has no knowledge about it. And I think he doesn't even have a data to prove. And then if the FGM have had destruction of life and property, unlike the killings that have been going on,
For your peace, let's get conversations.
the corruption that have been going on in Liberia. So I thought those were issues that actually, unlike the FGM, that
For your peace, the conversations is about to start. Good evening. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. This is the Liberia Public Radio. I'm Afonso Zienso. The panelists, they are here cross country. Couch Koto Jalabalaya is based in New Jersey, New York, New Jersey, to right there within New York proximity. The guy Walton Cato is based in the Constitution state of Connecticut. He's a pro-GOL supporter joining us this evening. Joe Lieberman. He and Joe Lieberman next to one another. Let's go to Minneapolis. He supports the candidacy of Councilor Chiawonse Gonglot. The scholar himself, Sese Goya, is joining this forum this evening, and more are to come. We want to welcome all our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. This is Liberia Public Radio. If this is your first time here, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome. We do not bring emotion. We do not bring feelings into our conversation here. Trust me, all of us here get under the throat of one another, but it's done in a safer context with convincing argument. That's what we do. Why? Because it's about the country. Gentlemen, lady, welcome. Let's get a ball rolling. Sese, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. How everybody doing?
Great.
I was hoping to take the night. I was hoping to take the night off, but I saw Johnny Wilton. I haven't seen your face in a long time, so I decided to come say hello.
Oh, but I just got a message. I said, "What? Ambassador Boycott tapped Tiawan say Gonglo, you got to be is Gonglo going for VP now?"
Oh, I think you got the message wrong. It's Congo the presidential candidate and Ambassador Boyka is the VP.
Oh,
And George Weah will be senator for Lova Gandhi.
what are you talking about? He from Lova?
That a new arrangement.
Is that a transitional arrangement? Okay. We started it the other day, but we didn't go in depth relative to the ambassador relief. It's a conference. It's still being out there, and there's a lot of self-interpretation with respect to what the ambassador says. Some people say, "Well, yeah, you're not supposed. Why they talking to a sovereign nation?" What it is, but let's have a conversation here. I think the ambassador, he was very crystal clear. He frowned on some of the things that happen in the country, and they do have a shared responsibility because at the end of the day, Uncle Sam is a greater and a contributor or making sure Liberia. And people always say, "Oh well, like America didn't put boot on the ground." Look, these people, they have their own standard. They want people to be responsible of their thing. They give in so many forms. But people, the thing about it, people just believe in physical catch. And that's not how America works. You hear, they create an opportunity for people to have jobs. So you see, they will have agency, they will have subcontractors that do things for government, for different companies. Guess what? All of these fundings, for the most part, is being subsidized by the federal government, but people don't get it. And they say, "Well, he's not supposed to talk." But I think he's very vocal. He reminds me of Ambassador William Swain those days. Gentlemen, let's have a conversation here. You from the Constitution State here. Let's see here. Was there any violation, any part of the ambassadors that we've been hearing in many quarters, other people's opinion, their views, or listening, or from the script you read? Is he favoring a specific or a particular political entity as being perceived? Because when he criticizes one side today, it's okay. When he throws some acid water, then everybody bursts into flame.
I don't think so on this point. I think he was in the interest of Liberia, the country Liberia and the people Liberia. The reason is from the get-go of our advocacy, we have said times with our numbers that most of our problems, in fact, all of our problems started here. They were discussed in basement, they were discussed in some big organization forum, and then they were transported into our country that destabilized the country. We said it from day one. I don't know why at this point the ambassador just catching up on it, but it is something that we've been talking about. And if you and I can, and all four of us here can really look deeper, we will see that there are some talk show hosts that sat on behind the phone and made people to go to the Catholic hospital, block the road, even stop people from going in. They were trying to break into Catholic hospital, breaking the fence down, taking stuff, the property from the street, putting on the road, onto black road for people not to go in because of one person called Justina Taylor. And he said he did it to save Justina Taylor. We saw on that same platform that he said it was a insurgent style when he put people on the street to burn tires, blocking the road. All these things could stir up instability in the country. So when this ambassador spoke, he was trying to tell the people, you cannot sit in the comfort of your homes, your offices, and make derogatory or inflammatory statement that has the potential of pushing this country backwards. He said, even though they enjoy the healthy conversation that we have in America about our country, like LPR-A, like other network, that talk about the issues. Those are all healthy conversation. But when we start to talk about, we start to incite people to go against a whole other group of people that will plunge the country into trouble, then I think he was speaking for all Liberians. Unfortunately, those who are involved in such practices felt offended, and the followings or the followers also felt offended. But well, I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it, because this very ambassador talked about the corruption in the country, and those very people that today saying he ain't got no business putting him up in our problem were healing him. They were the one that were enjoying what he said about our corruption. So today, yeah.
So corruption in the country?
Oh yes, corruption has always been in Liberia.
Okay, I'm just asking. Okay, Mr. Kamara, good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Su and the rest of the panelists. It is my pleasure to be in your presence once again.
Okay. All right, I got to introduce the occasion here. Oh, Madam Agnes, thank you so much for that star. I don't know, I almost took Zuckerberg to court. For whatever reason, they took our stars away. But today is back. So, Madam Barclay, thank you so much. So that's another way of supporting. Just send out those stars. That's how we earn. That's how we maintain. Yeah, sometimes time will come, we pull cash out, but this network is not too noted for that. Okay, so Ceci, let's you guys can bring in your other talking point here. But the issue of this ambassador press statement or the conference here, and making people nerves to go to nuts, crazy for whatever reason. Other people think the ambassador is wasting the Isaac water on them, and others say, hey, no, this is a neutral food. But listen to Ketoya carefully amended him words. He didn't call names. That's okay. We're not going to pull fingers in people's throat to do. And the ambassador, he spoke on a plain level to the extent that we must understand and know exactly what we're doing. You are prof. When you see that sort of communication, was he specific? Was he shifting blame on a particular group or institutions or what is going on from what you were?
So I like my brother Keto, I love him, but I think my man's vision is seriously colored tonight. And I like that the both of them are on the wall. They're pushed to the wall, because I'm going to push him more to the wall today and leave Prince alone a little bit. And Prince, by the way, I saw your posting on Facebook. Thank you for speaking truth to power. Thank you for calling out Akaras Gray and asking him to apologize to the Liberians. You can be a supporter of the government and still see truth. And I'm hoping one day my brother Keto will see that. But maybe we need to change his prescription. Having said that, look, any smart person who takes the time to read through the entire thing that was put out there will realize that there is no reason for anybody to be mad or anybody to be jubilating anyway. Look, the ambassador, let me put a few things down here that I hope Keto would be mad about, but he's not, he's ignoring it. Number one, since the situation at the University of Liberia, the president is leaving the country, hasn't spoken about it. He could speak about 2 auditors dying and say they were having sex on Broad Street, but he won't speak about a riot that happened a stone throw away from his office. The police, the IG has not spoken about it. No serious person in government has officially spoken about it. The ambassador was the first to condemn that. That should be a shame to the CDC government. That's the first piece. The ambassador, what CDC and CDCs are trying to do is to look at, when you go to KFC or you go to one of these fast foods, you order your main food. Then I ask you for side items, right? Well, you got to go with that side item. The CDCs want to focus on the side item, the aside, and forget about the main reason this entire thing was called. The main reason this entire thing was called is because corruption kingpin of the U.S. State Department and of USAID is in Liberia. Yes, corruption has been in Liberia for a long time. This is the first time the U.S. is taking it this seriously. to bring the corruption kingpin to Liberia. And y'all want to gloss over there to run over other things? Number two, the ambassador spoke about the issue of people laying in their comfort zone and saying stuff that are not verified. He didn't talk about anything derogatory. He's talking about things that are not factual. And I don't know, I get it, but I don't know what the CDC forgetting that this is not only pertaining to Spoon and Jerome Verdier, because after Jerome Verdier and Spoon made their communication, your very Michael Gilman and a lot of CDC platforms have been fomenting anger against the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice. They have been the reason why the Liberal National Police have been changing their tones and having different communications. So you don't think the ambassador was also talking about that is creating a problem, and you wanted to go back to recount the issue of Justina Taylor? You want us to sit down and talk about the violence that happened against Taylor Ure when people are on platform there in America supporting it, when she almost got killed? You want us to recount those things, my man? Just stop playing this thing while and so that was one of the things the ambassador talked about. The ambassador also talked about the issue of SGM that I know my sister got a personal issue with. But the main thing, because remember, if you read that, he said, we were, before I turn over to these people, before we talk about the reason we're here, before we eat the main course, let's eat the dessert first. And you want to focus on the dessert. When you invite me to your house, I can't then you go to Bogi and you give me potato to eat later on. And I worry about the potato, I worry about the tobogi. Even if your corn was sweet, but I wear the tobogi will mess up, make it cook. So let's talk about the main food. The reason they called that particular conference was to tell you to compare Liberia to other countries like Singapore and look at what Singapore has managed to do without corruption, and to call you out and to say that because corruption is so endemic, we are bringing in the State Department chief czar on corruption. And you want to sit down here and just spin this thing around like it's about Henry Costa alone and Jerome Verdier. We sat on the platform, we condemned Jerome Verdier. But people can call him out and say we can provide a proof. I will tell the Lebron put a secret that the snake told Eve the apple. He hasn't provided it. But let's be very frank. CDC platform, pro-government platforms have been fomenting the same issue in Liberia. So this was not only directed at Spoon, it was directed at all of those people that can wear their beret, whether it's blue, red, green, or black, and sit down in their small little room and make noise for the Liberian people.
Okay.
Good try, brother.
Who is here to neutralize this conversation here? Prince.
You don't let me go in here. You just introduce it and I level. So I don't know.
We are having a conversation. You're on the program.
Brother,
Don't worry.
I mean, she's more than welcome. She's more than welcome to go.
So brother,
you welcome me.
Let me just hit my brother.
Oh, hold on. That's not how we do it here. You know that.
I know, but he said
why
something.
will we allow this guy to get under you guys' skin and he becomes successful?
What
he did was, you know what he did, Jenna? He was very strategic in his argument. He said, Prince, your next guy, Prince, but I will make he cater to go against the war. In fact, he started off to saying you were off, but he saw you. So that's another way now. So calm down. It's just
man, don't start problem. You just moderator. Just ask the question. Man. Don't come be therapist at the same time. I will get us on my time. When you finish talking, I will even get some my time so you can talk more.
You got it. I'm going to be coming to the ambassador. Don't worry. We started a conversation. Let me bring in Prince here. Prince, are you on the side of Sister Goyo with his narrative?
I mean, I wouldn't specifically say I'm on his side, but, him being an intellect and, like I would say, a teacher, he's more open-minded to some diplomatic or when it comes to diplomatic relation topic or subject. But I wouldn't want to agree with him 100% because I have my own perspective. But then, CZ, I would just like to say thank you for noticing that that I actually came, I came out of Kara's Gray. And the main reason for doing that is like this. Is because I would say he can't be held responsible because he's a senior legislator and also a let me see what the term I'm trying to use here.
He chairs a serious committee in
He,
the
he, oh, he
Senate.
okay. He chairs one of the some of the most important committees, and he also with the ruling party. So his actions and behavior is a plus negative. I mean, is a negative minus for the political party.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of my reasons for emphasizing on him, despite him being equally wrong as Yeke. But for Yeke, it's more of a routine and a tantrum personality. So you kind of give him a break towards that. But for Akaris Gray, I feel like he should have been smarter. It's political season. He should have been smarter. He could have proceeded better. He could have listened to advices. So my reason for focusing on him is once you show leadership, the example will be followed. And you're a senior member of the CDC. So as far as CZ contribution towards that, that's what I like to say now. Coming back to the ambassador's speech or delivery, it's one thing we got to understand is the role or primary duty of the ambassadors in Liberia. I saw what I saw what I think he's becoming conscious of the happenings and doings or the routine of social media propagandists. So he's awakening to those things. Now, just to give a brief summary, the primary duty of the ambassadors is to maintain diplomatic relations with receiving state and promote foreign policies, strategy through international organizations. So the reason for quoting that is because his focus on this particular subject was corruption, not so much of the media, not so much of what's being said on the media, but it's about corruption. Now we just had three major government key players that were recently suspended. So whether people claim they had due diligence of the process or not, he's a diplomat. So he's not telling us what we want to hear. He's reporting what he sees. So that's what I would like to attribute to that.
Okay, let me go to Koto now. People feels the ambassador is being more or less political than diplomatic. That's the interpretation which I don't understand, or people have to their views. Koto, you listen to Keto, you listen to Sissy. I know we started off with the conversation. Was the ambassador press statement, was it a fair deal, or was it in the right place? What do you think? Did he go over the top as an ambassador? Is that how you feel? What's your own? Let's look at it generally now, because he was very much specific on things that he frowned on. Which group feels very dissatisfied to his own opinions or views expressed? And usually, when ambassador of sorry speaks, it's Uncle Sam speaking. He's not going to speak like that would be the views of his State Department, literally. Yes, he's not just as Ambassador McCarthy, like a State Department making position statements on things when it happens in foreign country or so.
Thank you very much, Mr. So. And it's like I initially said, it's comprehension problem that many of us have. And like you said, and like I said rather before, since they came in, what right now is misinterpreting.
Okay,
He understands it the way he understands it.
guys, let's just have fun. Today is Friday, so let's make other people see who are part of Liberia. We'll let them know that. So more forces are coming. Let's see what happens. But go ahead.
Okay, Wilton understands it the way he understands it, and other people understand it the way they understand it. But the main idea is that the ambassador is advising us Liberian of what he sees. All of the people that are on the blue are not just pro government or just only pro government. Let me say not only pro government, but all, even the broadcast, I think the only people I don't see much. I don't want to talk much. I say only go.
Oh, just because we can be fighting and causing people.
Sorry, Papa. Sorry, I just talking good about you. That you people are not too much on the blue art, saying most of these things that the ambassador is talking about. But let's get back to the onset of all of these things. All of these people that he's seeing that brought up this whole confusion on the blue art. Majority of them are the seditions. The very Kumba that he's talking about from the CDC. She came from the CDC. We see former minister, information minister. He's from the CDC. We see even Sheikh is from the CDC. Most of the people that you see are vocal against this government. Majority of them are from the CDC, the ruling party. What's happening? It went off just now, right?
No. I think Arthur Mike is now muted, so he was responding.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Koto. We're hearing you.
Oh, I saw it off. That's why.
No, we're on.
Okay. So all of these, that when we want to say which group is more involved into this blue eye confusion, I would rather say it's the CDC. But I don't want to go to that route. And initially what I said is, it's not one-sided. It's informing all of us that even on their blue eye, that whatever report we should be spreading out there, it should be a fight. So if I came here, like I initially said, somebody asked me about Ambassador Boycott, I don't come here and give information that I do not know about and spread it or give the wrong information out there. Well,
I just type me in a comment and show her. The first paper.
So let's not think that way. That's why I'm telling you.
Wait a minute.
Let's discuss the issue. It is not more about the ambassador is pointing as opposition as to not pointing at the government, in it. And the more main object about this whole speech is the corruption aspect. For me, that's the major concern. And that's why I was even saying that the FGMT is not necessary for the statement from the ambassador, because that is not harming anybody in Liberia. It's the corruption that is killing us in Liberia. It is the killing that is carrying a lot of our people. Why don't we focus on that and forget about FGM? Because it's not. I have no data of even one person that have died from FGM in Liberia. No data that anybody have died from FGM in Liberia.
Really?
I stand to be corrected. Yes.
So in that context, 1 second. In that context, it means nothing happened.
Let them prove it. But as far as I'm concerned, I have not seen any data to prove that.
Okay.
In Liberia.
Everybody are so lawfully minded. Okay. Yeah. So this is a Friday night.
I want to see that data to tell me, because if you see where it is practiced, I am from that background that is widely practiced. It is practiced widely. So I'm not even backing myself. I'm not saying I'm not part of it. I'm telling you, I am part of it. And you can tell me, you can give me a data, let prove whether I am affected as compared to the person that is not part of the FGM. So that's where my argument is. Well, what Keta is in arguing against, I don't have time, because I know they all pro or against. If it is, I'm an opposition. But I'm not saying, I'm not crying wolf that what the ambassador said is against me. The ambassador is right. Because many people just get on the blue eye thing that they're not aware of, spit it. And not many of our people going to read like this statement. Now everybody just say against Liberia, against the opposition. They have not read it to get the content.
All right. Let's do it this way. Make it much easier for me, and so that we'll get much connected. Today is Friday. The house is already crowded. I'm hearing the liberal might be joining in, but I don't know. Let he stay there. Let he Jeff from Grand Year. Let he sit down here small.
So let's keep it with 3 seditions here and by George here. Don't bring a liberal big. We won't bring our platform down tonight.
The liberal got no ground. You know that, boy.
Okay, so let's keep it succinct to the point. Edmonds Joy from the far right. Good evening. Welcome. Edgar Atasolot. He called himself a constitutionalist. Wow. Okay. Let's see whether the Constitution somebody right is being interfering. Okay. Thank you guys for coming in here.
Get that, Tamara. How you all doing?
Okay. So Solo, before I bring in George, you were all burning in your comfortable seat there, walking like somebody's being electrocuted here this evening. Or
they're making me from you. You say coming on.
So let's hear from you. This is that a CDC crying baby cry with this thing here? Koto is defended and say, UJ Fagon, Sheikh, that your own people, your own little alligators. At the end of the day, you let them loose out of the zoo. They're the one caught.
Mr. So, we all know Falcon is not a CDC. We are the government is the government or inclusive. It's there to hire anybody who live in Liberia, who's a Liberian. Falcon is not a CDC. You know it. Our female doctor knows it. Even Goa over there knows it. Even Mr. Amos over there knows it.
Man, don't make me your witness in your team.
No, I'm actually putting you as a hostile with me, man. You know, that's how we do in the criminal justice. You're hostile with me, you know. But let me point to the idea of this. For me, I'm a pro-government. I always tell people the reason why I'm pro-government. Even when I got to Ellen, I will still be pro-government. And I told you that several times on the platform, and our female that's on the platform that I have higher respect for, even we disagree on a lot of issues, that she pointed out that, oh, show me. You know what killed people in Liberia? That not corruption, that disinformation. My dear sister, the very thing that killed 250,000+ people, that disinformation and lies that kill people, not corruption. So today, if you don't know, that's your answer right there. Everything that happened in Liberia started from the diaspora here. And you're talking about, oh, I see going, they say, oh, the blue arm and this one and this one. Show me any pro-government that say we should kill Yoko Koluba. Show me. Let me point out any pro-government platform that says Yoko Koluba should die today. But this is the thing.
You really want to...
Hold on. I am speaking.
Oh, sorry, Chief. You asked me to show you. I want to show you.
I am speaking.
Let's do it one at a time.
Yeah, I am speaking. Please hold. Show me any pro-government that says let Yoko Koluba die. We rather believe that Yoko Koluba should be removed by the ballot box. But you have Henry Petro Costa that can say, I will kill the president and drag his body like a dog. I will break down the airport. But we, the pro-government, remain calm and say, let the man say what he has to say, because we have the freedom of speech. The Abdul Kamara Act is there. Let the man say what he's saying. At the same time, the own people deem him hostile. Come on, guys. When CDC win one goal, give it to them. Sunday Ambassador Bet in Liberia is about against the CDC-led government. We're talking about sanction against prominent members without evidence. Even out of their own chat room, they are getting to know that they had no evidence. They cannot bring any more session because they don't want to backfire. And I see you people getting on my brother Keto, William here, because you think that he's alone. I challenge any of you to show a tip or any soundbite that order Yoke Koluba death.
So let me ask you.
Before I finish, let me learn, Mr. Soul. I have a little bit boring before I get in. So let me empty my satchel.
Your temperature are going up, eh?
Yes. I could go and let my temperature up. When he said that the CDC government they were talking to, they're not talking about CDC government. He's ashamed because he believed the opposition to keep the balance of the country. The government is the one that he don't believe because the government already in power. So he thought that the opposition will have kept the balance. Like my sister over there, Madam Boaka. You people have nothing to offer. Nothing. All you do, even Elizabeth Cummings, had nothing to offer. But all you do is to create the problem that will destabilize the country. You believe in your party more than the country Liberia. That's the problem. That's the problem. You, Mr. My brother, that I lost someone. That's why Mr. Abraham has.
Hello.
Yeah, man, they still on topic, man. I keep running around. Still on one topic.
Hello.
We can discuss it.
This network here, that's why we don't sanction voices.
I know.
When you come here, just don't care your cholesterol or you ain't get insurance. Anything happen here, you on your own.
No, I actually prepared when I came, Mr. So I prepared.
Yeah. Let's have a
check my blood pressure before coming.
Okay, go, you take it. Let's have a conversation here.
Let's do.
Talking about all of this here. Yes, I also pro-GOL. Everywhere, even in the US here, they have pro-government support. All of that.
So,
do you
deny
think
that?
Messages coming from some of these pro-GOL government supporters, are they not also alarming? Are they now also of a concerns? Some of their sound bites?
Okay, Mr. So, let me ask you a question. In the entire life of the country called Liberia, when did we come to be corruption free?
That's not my question. That's not what
No. We are balancing your question with another one. When? Since 1801, we were corrupt. We were corrupt then. We are still corrupt now. Enough joint money we had that caused.
Nobody said that here. Nobody said that here. I didn't hear that from anybody.
No, actually, I hear that for the Boaka camp. My female lady there. Wait. They're not wait to get you speaking with because he by CDC. Me a pro government. I can hold you. I can hold Wilton. I can hold anybody.
I don't think you want to hold Keto because you already aligned with Keto.
Yeah, because Keto and I on the same boat right now in the same hour.
Okay, hold your peace. Let me bring in Amos George.
Emma will sing the same song.
Yeah, hold on. Don't do it here. You talk. It's time for him to do. So
he talk. I love him because he's balanced. He can criticize, but he's always balanced.
So Lord, we do it here in a different faction. Amos George, I'm not sure whether the peace pipe this guy wants to smoke with you that you balance here. Let's see here whether ECMO can keep this peace here. There are other GOL, pro-GOL network. We all see that the government, opposition, they get their red meat. Pro-GOL, they also get their red meat. Where is the disconnect here? You listen to Solo's argument. I'm not sure whether you heard Keto and Dalavai, Sese and Kamara. But let me just bring you in here. Seeing all what is unfolding, I believe you have gone through tons of time with the ambassador's speech. Is it being directed at a specific political institution or a specific group? What do you think the ambassador was saying? What was he pointing at? Come on, George.
The ambassador's speech. The main issue, people are leaving it. People are leaving the main issue, but taking the side piece to capitalize on it, to score political points. The ambassador's speech was in no way, in any form, accusing one group of people. But be as it is, whoever the way they want to interpret to suit their taste. That's what they're doing. That's why I see people drink from all sides. So I will now, I read, because I said the other day, for me, I said the ambassador speaks for me. I really don't, that I got nothing really to say about it, because the people want to make noise. Let them fight over it. One thing they're not talking about the main issue, of course.
What is the main issue?
They're talking it. Because we know to bring a corruption czar in your country, to handle corrupt, to enforce the fight against corruption in your country. That in itself, those who claim to be, that is an insult.
Oh my God.
That the inability to fight corruption, that should be an insult to them. People pour money into the country, they see what happened to the money. Now they got to say, okay, you know what, we got to put a boot on the ground. It's like children. The people that we lost so much, we're supposed to cater to. Why we cannot administer those funds directly to these people to benefit them? But 75% or 80% go into individual pockets. So that's what the ambassador, that's why for me, I'm focused on what he said about some people sitting in the comfort of their home. Yes. Isn't that true? That's true. Opposition, imposition, pro-government, everybody sit down in the comfort of their home and say things that they want to say. And sometimes that has a potential to flame something in Liberia. That he need a particular group of people, no. But we also know the different platform, what comes from so many platforms. So should I be annoyed with the ambassador for that? No. And the only thing that I say I wanted to touch is this female. I want to see the proof from the ambassador. Because here's the thing here. It's everything that's done in the Southern society is right. No. There's need for improvement. But I find it very difficult for people to tell people, just leave your culture because this is happening and you got no proof. So I have a plan. There's a need for improvement in this with the Southern society. Yeah, it can be done. Something can be done. But they say, oh, this thing it killed people. Then I want to see the records.
So do you on that point here quickly
say,
here?
You tell me.
Hold on one second.
Hold
on. Do you think the ambassador is going much deeper into the culture of Liberia instead of taking on the political aspect? It's almost talking about.
Too much.
He's going. Huh?
Yeah. He's going too much because he's seeing something that I want to see record. I'm not saying there can be modification, there can be changes made to this institution. But for people say to abolish it, for me, I have a problem because I'm from the Provident Society. Can the ambassador show me any record that people have died from that? I'm not seeing the record.
Thank you.
But these things are done to suit people, certain group of people who use it to make money. Because, should I say the mercenary temple should be banned in Liberia? They should be banned. According to all the things we hear about it, should I say that it should be banned? I can't say so. But I want to say something. Let me just land on this.
Yeah, quickly before I go to Sisi.
Every time when I hear like Kete come on the program to accuse people, Kete, where were you when CDC were in opposition? When they were blockading the street, they ever call on George Weah, a political liaison, to say, hey, this has the potential to undermine the peace. Did you ever do that? When they were throwing casket, did you ever say anything to them? When they took on and put tomato on it, did you tell George Weah, I can't agree that no, this is not right? I'm not justifying for anybody burning tire in the street. But what I'm saying here is that don't go after other people when you are doing the very thing. You should not be the one to speak about it. You should not be the one to speak about it. So to sit down and make the kind of statement, I find it very trolling. The last one you said, people in the auditory Liberia staff in the diaspora. Oh, yes. Kevin, let me tell you, if you run a government and that's my other country, that's my home. If I cannot go back, peace, I'll find other means to go back. So if the government, if any government doesn't want any trouble in the country, then the space, democracy must be given to every, that space must be given to everybody to express their feelings, expression, religion. These are things that led to some trouble in Liberia. But you won't just make a plan. Oh, the people in the diaspora started and no. What preceded was the cause?
Okay, that's the
When
root
other
cause.
people
Let me go to
in the night and kill.
All right. Also, once I call your attention, just listen to me so that we don't want to be doing like other people. We can't throw people in the back here. We respect people's view. We can disagree with it, but we gave you a chance to defend it. Sese, you seems to be burning in there as well.
Well, so for me, there are days that we will come here, and I'm sure when the election comes, we'll come here, we'll do electioneering politics. We'll do like my brother Arthur was doing that year around, bring 5,000 things, chunk at the table, at the wall, and see which one sticks. I'm not going to go to that. This is a written document. It's right here. Our audience can read it. They can read it. So I'm not going to argue that piece where he wants to run to. However, I want to talk on the FGM issue. For full disclosure, I'm a Loma man. Ma Loma Pa Loma from Zaza district.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
right.
100%. My grandfather, my paternal grandfather, was the chief menzo for my entire district all the time he lived. So that means the poorer society, if anybody has ever watched me before, when I introduce myself to white people or when I go to speak at white people places, I always say I am the grandson of a professor. I refer to my paternal grandfather as a professor because when we went to the poorer society, that was traditional school. That's where you went to learn how to be a man. That means you had to learn economics, you had to learn agriculture, you had to learn engineering, how to build bridges, you had to learn a lot of stuff. That's where we went to learn that. So I refer to my paternal grandfather as a professor. And I always list that on my bio that I am a grandchild of a professor. One of my grandmothers, because my grandfather was married to many wives, one of my grandmother, my paternal direct father's mother, was the chief women's zoo of the Sunny Bush. I have been to all of the layers of the traditional society beyond the poor society. So this is very personal to me. But let me say this. There is a paragraph that I want to read, and I hope you can give me a chance in the paper that was put out for the speech of the ambassador. He said the UN, the AU, and women's rights advocates and other development partners are not asking you to abolish coming of age rituals. Coming of age rituals are our poorer and Sunday society stuff. No one is suggesting that you should eliminate traditions of training girls in the ways of women. The campaign is only to eliminate the cutting. That was what he said. He's not saying we should start the Sunday society. He's not saying we should stop the poorer society. He is saying the female circumcision part of it is the one that there are so many research around the world, from the American Medical Association, researchers backed by the United Nations that we have not countered. When I say we, I mean us, who family people, our grandparents did that thing. We've been lazy. We have not come up with research to counter that. So the prevailing research is that affects women a lot in childbirth and in a lot of critical gynecological issues. And so we should stop that. They're not saying we shouldn't go to the Sunday bush and teach our women how to be wives, how to learn the way of a traditional Liberian woman. They're not saying that. They're saying that he's saying that the cutting part is what we should stop. So for me, I wanted to put that out there and say, we can look at that. We can look at that part about the cutting. That's what he said to stop the cutting. It's right in his speech. It's right in the written speech. It's on the embassy website. On the embassy website is right there. And if you want me to tell you, it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, paragraph 6 of his speech, just for research. Those of you shaking your head. Go look at
A
it.
positive note. My second
Paragraph 6.
right.
And so we can have a discussion about that. If that is based in our tradition and we see benefits of it, then let's prove that. Let's show it to them. Because as it is right now, there are a lot of prevailing researchers done in Europe, out of Africa, that suggest that is hurtful. I have a personal feeling about that. But I just want to make the records clear that the ambassador clearly stated that they're not asking us to get away from our cultures and our tradition. The part that they're worried about is the cutting part. I just want to put that out there just for truth. So we can, when we're having the discussions, when we're debating, at least we're debating on what he said. I would love my brother Arthur to come on and correct me because he's shaking his head like I'm lying. So he can come on and correct me.
So
yeah, I come in there.
Can we let Arthur correct me because Arthur is shaking his head like I'm lying, even though
No, hold on. I thought you take notes. We gotta do it in a timely fashion. To that point, I come to you. The essence of this conversation too is to make people to understand whether they agree or not, but to know, because people read first paragraph, one sentence, they don't even come to the last, and they draw conclusions, say, oh, this is going to happen. And sometimes the main idea is either you're located in the first paragraph, the second, or the third, depending on the writers. They get different way of doing it. So do you think, Cece, making that point here, it seems to me the ambassador more or less was specific, but other people did not grab the concept also. Do you think that was an arguable point the ambassador was making? Because he was just explaining based on research or what people has gathered, even though we have not, like you said, we have not taken the time to look at the medical effect or the long trend. Even though we're doing it, it's our culture, like they have their own stuff going on here, but they are looking at based on what they have gathered. Do you think, is that something we need to look at as a people, as a nation?
And that's what we struggle with, because when you look at this entire thing that was released by the embassy, people take one sentence or one paragraph and they stop reading. They stop reading the paragraph before and the paragraph after. They do like these lazy preachers that only pick John 11:35 and say Jesus wept, and they run. They don't know why Jesus wept, what happened before Jesus cried. They just say Jesus wept and they run with it. And those are the kind of lazy intellectuals I got a problem with. You understand that? And so when the ambassador spoke, the issue is that I'm not saying I agree with him. I'm just saying what he said. And we can look at that and have that argument. In Liberian culture, when you start to talk about the Sender society and the Pro society, a lot of people get offended, including me. But when I want to get offended, I want to get offended within the reason, within the scope that the person spoke, right? So I was very careful. I went by, when he spoke about it, I went by and looked at it and read through it. I do have an issue, a lot of issue with Western culture trying to determine what gets done in our culture. But that is different than trying to ascribe to the ambassador what the ambassador did not say. Okay? I have an issue with even male circumcision. There is no medical benefit for male circumcision except for the fact that it is biblical. In the Bible, God said that you should circumcise your children. That's the only reason we do that. There's no medical benefit to male circumcision either. But we don't talk about those. Right? And so for me, I just want to make sure that when I disagree with the ambassador, I disagree, but give him credit for what he said, disagree on the issue that he said, and don't ascribe to any things he didn't say.
Okay. Koto, you opened this room here this evening. I saw that, but on purpose, I decided to go strictly to the media. And we know how powerful the media, we know the Rwanda situation, we know even right in the states where we are located. Donald Trump, he was a guy who was using the media and kept preaching the soundbite. The election will be rigged. Don't believe these people. Don't listen to them. Whatever you hear from them, don't listen to them. Even up to this, people still subscribe to those sort of behaviors. So he's coming from in the context of his own word as well. The danger, there's a good aspect, and the danger of people dependent on the person, how it's being used. But you brought in this here. And I know you have a big fish to fry in this thing here. Yeah. Is the ambassador crossing the red line? Or do we need to have a conversation as a people?
No, I'm not saying he's crossing the red line. The ambassador is hearing and he's speaking on the issue what that they agree on in Liberia. you know that people in the organization that are stopped this whole process in Liberia. It is only the ambassador that even saying that they should go beyond to even make sure that it is not affecting, like right there, Cesar said, it is the ambassador advising them even on that. But our own Liberians, there because they are associated with this organization, they want to eradicate it. And that's the point I'm raising. I'm not saying the ambassador is imposing on them. It is our own people. And then you come there, you ask them, they will not give you any data. As I have been in the medical field, there have been nowhere they have given me a data on where women are mainly affected. Because the issue that they even stress on, you will see most women that have not even gone through this process are affected more than women who have gone through this process. So I come to say that it is not that. It is because women have biological composition that affect them at a time. You see, now even more women have preeclampsia in Liberia. Not many. But you see here in America, they have more women with preeclampsia that is affecting, that kill more women at childbirth. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from my own data analysis. I'm not saying what he's saying, he imposing. He's not even imposing, he's suggesting. But it is our own Liberians that come up who do have data or do not even have the experience. They won't even explain what the benefit and the outreach or outfield the danger. Because if you tell me something is not good, I want to see the benefit that outroot the danger. Because that's where the analysis come. But they will not tell you the data is not good. It's like telling me tobacco is harmful to you. Because most people say, don't eat tobacco. Tobacco has solar in it. I have people who have been eating solar and tobacco for more than their lifetime. It has not been affecting them, and there is no biological composition that tells you that the tobacco have killed people. So for me, that's where I'm coming with my own, argument on this effect. That there is no data. They come here and they say, okay, they have the data. So I've been going through it. I really wonder, because I'm from that background. I wanted to show
So let me ask you this question here.
all women affected to that are not affected, but I have not seen it. All and now I've been reading, they will just say women are affected women, but again, there's no data to conclude.
Do you think,
in fact, it is that affecting women?
Yeah, quickly here.
Yes.
We have to insight into our politics now of critical issues since we are on it. Do you think those are issues to talk about as well? Is that something we need to talk about in the country as a people, as a nation?
If I tell you that,
or are we seeing, on the flip side, are we seeing the Westerners trying to invade the cultures of Africa to be replaced to that of their culture? Is that how other people see it to be?
I see it like that. And I tell you, and I see all of the practices that they are thrown out in Africa. It is exhibited here in America more than anywhere else. It is exhibited here. They see even the spirit, the evocation, the sorcerer, and everything. They are practiced here more than Africa. And even when they talk about the Sunday society, we see even the tattoo thing. You see, it's more rampant in America than anywhere else.
Okay.
So I see that they are not fair to that particular event. They come to us and want us to eradicate our culture. Then they come here, the very thing they are telling us to avoid, they come here and practice it at a wider level.
All right. Okay, at a wider level.
That's my point.
It reminds me when I came here newly, I know the issue of this gay, that. We used to hear a long time. The one club, Black Sugar, everybody knows Black Sugar. We used to see those things. But when people doing it, it's almost like in hidden. So I remember my first job I started. And Massachusetts, it was the time they law passed here. Oh, man, it was crazy. When you see all grown-up men. So I was sitting down, the supervisor, it was so, I don't know why I did that. And when I saw this whole boy, and she saw in my facial expression, I was like, what is this? And she said, and she looked at me too, she felt very discomfortable. I don't need to go that way there. But Solo, I see you there. Is it a replacement of our own culture, our own traditions? Is that what the Westerners are trying to infiltrate? Is that how it's been perceived? or do we need to have a national conversation to go much deeper? Not really, because he's not even telling us, say, don't do it. He also say he's not telling us, say, oh no, the thing you're doing is horrible. He's not. He has his statement. It doesn't sound like demeaning the culture out of our culture, but his statement is based on the reference, research, and other things they are gathered and telling us to say, okay, these are potential consequences, even though we yet to do that. It says a way not to tell us for us to go in depth, since our people are the ones that are doing this thing, to go a little bit much in depth to get details or maybe some sort of statistics or research, something that people will lay hand on for which we can have a conversation.
We do, Mr. So. Thank you very much. And I want to thank my sister up there. I love you, Mama, for standing up for your culture. The first lady of Sierra Leone, she was asked by BBC in London that genital mutilation is bad. And she asked the lady, you that asking me that genital mutilation is bad, you are wearing a hijab. The European here think that if you wear a hijab, you are a terrorist. Are you a terrorist? Because I said it before you, I'm a circumcised woman, and I have all my children with no problem, no C-section. You know, CC, let me come to you. I don't throw 1,000 things around. You know what? Labrepo, not even listening to the part of that genital thing you're talking about, because it's not a problem for Liberian people. Gay and lesbian is a problem for Liberian people, for Africans. Let me tell you that. Because we don't have money to buy retrovirus medicine for people that are gay and lesbian. The woman sitting among us here today, she can attest to it, that anybody that have that genital diphtheria, they have to take shots to balance themselves out to be normal. I deal with them every day. But Mr. Soul, let me tell you that, you know why Labrepo not even listening to that? I know my brother CC say, oh, you are a proud member. I don't think you are proud enough. If I were proud enough, I would know the ambassador on those things. Because if the ambassador have to worry about genital mutilation, he should be worrying about men want to get pregnant in America. He should worry about men want to be called they instead of he or she. They don't want that title anymore. They want the pronouns they. That's what they want. Now, how many of you ask that it's, oh, that's just me. But how can I refer to you as they? But that's what they want. You know, that's the problem. Why Liberia people not paying attention to it? Because it's not a problem. It's not a geopolitical problem, even in the whole of Africa, Mr. So. The catalog of this whole event is based on two things: corruption and breathing, yelling fire in the theater. That's the two things that's detrimental to the Liberian society. It undermines the institution of the Liberian community. Okay. That's the reason why. Let me finish, Mr. So, before you come in. Do you know why the ambassador tossing this thing in? I know all of you saying that, oh, that he's not pushing for it. He is pushing for it. In a sense, everything that you do, even in invading a civilization, you cannot do it by force. It has to be surgical. You do it once, all simultaneously, step by step. You push and push and push. While the people are not paying attention, that's the time you drag them in. We are signing agreement on AIDS that based on giving a human right to gays. If you don't think all our AIDS will receive it from the United States, we have to accept gay right. This is why Uganda stopped getting aid. They said, we don't want your aid, we want trade. Because if that's the case, keep your aid. Mr. So, in Liberia, even CC, Mr. Amos, my sister, beloved, I love you now because you stand up for yourself, for your society. No one
Let's see what
can categorically prove that genital mutilation is a problem, Mr. So. No one in that only the Western world sit down, they will sit down and put together their own studies. How can somebody in America can tell that they are WMD in Iraq? But we went after Iraq. After years of damaging people in their wedding, bombing them, we come out WMD was a fake lies. We are starting off with a new era. The new era is to use the church. Right now, there's so many churches. But are they actually serving God? No, they are serving themselves. Right now in churches, they'll tell you, say, pay $500, you will be blessed. People, our mind and part, they pay $500 to it.
Okay, let me hold you there.
Hold me there.
Ego, you are identified. So let's pivot
I
here.
am a conservative Republican in the state of Nebraska. We don't tolerate those things.
Oh, I think that maybe you are Amos, Georgia. Okay, is anybody want to speak on this thing? I want to pivot.
Just real quick before Keto come in. I'm baking you, Keto.
Yeah, Keto, yeah, okay.
1 minute. Yeah. You know, my brother Arthur, when people speaking, what I will hope you can do is to listen to understand, not listen to respond. I think when we listen to respond, we mix what somebody's trying to say. And that's what you did, sadly. When I spoke, I said, let's lay out what the ambassador said. It was not an endorsement of what the ambassador of what he's pushing. I said, let me read to you what the ambassador said. The reason I listed my background was for you to know that I have an issue with the discussion. But sometimes, you know, and that's why I like this platform, we come here to educate. When folks speak, you might not agree with what they're trying to say, but listen to understand, not listen to respond. I in no way said that what the ambassador said was right. All I did was to call my sister Koto and say, let's see what he said. He's talking about the cutting. And oh, by the way, since Ellen government time, we've been receiving money. We've been getting rid of female genital mutilation a lot. So this is not new. But when somebody speaks on an issue, my brother, I'm begging you, listen to understand, not listen to respond.
Okay, let's.
So give me 30 seconds. I won't correct you.
Hold on. Yeah,
please.
Hold on. Keep your second here.
I just don't want to forget. I just want to correct you. 30 seconds. I would have
Write it down.
Let me bring in Keto here. Trying hard now to pivot to a different conversations. You have identified corruption and the media. That is very crucial. Comes to presidential and legislative election that is coming. That would be the turning point, the red meat, the innuendos, the falsehood, the subliminal messages. It's coming from both opposition, it's coming from pro-government supporter, it's coming from group calling themselves advocacy, different people. And that is the most dangerous thing for any society. But let me just bring in Keto, Wilton Keto. I guess Keto, are you receiving messages? Are you reviewing or what?
I'm just listening.
Yeah, let me just bring you in here. You've been listening here. I think there are some things thrown at you or your positions. Let's have your say. Respond to that.
So I would like to respond to. Let me just respond. I will not call it name. But I would like to respond to some statement made that put me in the hot seat. So so this is the thing here, right? First of all, I am a bona fide member of this platform now. I'm not somebody that just come here as referred to as Mr. George. You come on this platform, it's like you're a stranger come on the platform. I'm a bona fide member just like any other person. So when you address me, just say, hey, you know what, we come to discuss the issue. I don't want to throw that on that. But this the real thing here. When we go back to that statement from the ambassador, especially when we came on first, you talk about the statement that the ambassador made that people running with, and in regards to the media, the people in the diaspora. That is what you put out there for us to talk about first before all the other things. And when you look at that statement, there were particular things pointed out in that statement. He said, and Sister spoke to it, I think 2 days ago. He said, in month, meaning he said months. We've been on this social media for years, talking all kinds of stuff. He was not referring to us in months. What are some of the crucial things that happen in Liberia in the few months, in the month, the month time he was talking about? The Gloria Scott incident. Who the police contacted? The police didn't contact Brother So. The police did not contact me. The police did not contact Michael Gilman. The police contacted Jerome Verdier. And Jerome Verdier said he has no evidence. So when I speak here, I speak with understanding. I comprehend everything that people say, And when I read it, I comprehend it because I didn't eat my school fees. I may sound a little bit crazy, but that's it. But that's the thing, right? Let us consider the situation in our country. I am here saying my country is beautiful. I am here saying my country is good for business. I am here saying the president is good. I am here saying the president is developing. I am here saying that people are not dropping on the street dying. I am here saying that doomsdays are not coming, or doomsdays is not coming to Liberia now. I'm saying Liberia is prospering. Am I preaching bad message? Am I denigrating my country? No. So can anybody tell me that what I'm saying about my country is bad for my country? No. The people that are saying that let's drag this president hair down, the people that are saying that every day people dying on the street for starvation, the people that are saying that the broader developing is nothing happening in the country. Doomsday is about to happen in Liberia. War gonna come. Are they people speaking good for our country? No. Is they encouraging investors to go to our country? No. So the ambassador was speaking to people who are in a habit of sitting in the comfort of their room, making sure that our country does not survive. Our country does not see the light of day. So it is clear it's not about the ruling establishment or people that support this government. It's about people that speak. It could be you got to be opposition. It's just some people that just don't want to see Liberia prosper, Liberia move ahead. So those are the people who are talking about. And Jerry Vreda, Henry Costa, Lit Kim, the so-called grasshopper politician, want to be pastor, Eugene Fagon, who all in this thing. So, and that's why I want to talk about this one. But let's talk about the female genital mutilation. I agree with Kotu. I agree with Solo and my Pop George. Let me be honest here. There are certain practices in this country that you dare not to talk about. In my state, the people were trying to talk about, they had this organization that are responsible to talk to people, train you. So when you're struggling with what they call it, gender identity, and you're a man and you don't feel like you're a man, you want to change your sexual orientation, they had a group that will talk to you, they will counsel you and tell you, say, once you're born with that thing, you're a man. You know what they did here? They banned that organization because that organization were being sponsored or subsidized by the government here. They banned that organization, and what they did, they introduced the doctrine that we are speaking about in the schools. Is it good for them? They say it's okay. Now, in Liberia, there's no day.
Wait 1 second. Which doctrine in the school? I want to learn. Which doctrine you're talking about in the school?
Conservative.
Homosexual, man. They're talking different things. Not even you. What the doctrine in the school?
That we should accept people for who they are. They tell our children. Yes, you understand? So
I just want to understand, because when you throw things, I like to understand. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? In our country, for the time I've been knowing myself, I never heard or seen a woman who has gone through that culture. You understand? That they say she died in childbirth because of complication because of that. No. But let me say here to all of us here on this platform, including the people that are part of the society, the white men go to Liberia and open the Sunday Society and saw what they did there. You know who made the women to know what's happening? The very people that went in the society. And I can tell you for free. I worked in Ivory Coast for 7 years when I went there after the April 6th war, when they had a resettlement program. For Liberian women to come to this country, they had to lie that the mark that were on their back, the rebel put it there. That the rebel even cut them. They said all those stuff. Why should you lie? Why should you lie of your own culture? Let's just say my grandfather was the Zoe Omen Jackson. Ask anybody about Omen Jackson after Salala there. Big Zoe. He never put us into the product society because he wanted us to go there willingly when we get to where we will be mature. And I think one of the things the ambassador was talking about in the Liberian government, even the president talked about, he said not to cut off the people practicing their thing, but at least that a woman decide. Let you get of age and say, okay, I want this to happen. but you shouldn't do it to infant, to children who in the future they will say, oh, why am I not enjoying my sexual things? And I think that what the argument is about, but to justify that it has complication when people give birth, I disagree with that. That's not true. But again, if the street don't sell you, I mean the house don't sell you, the street won't buy you. And that's the problem we face in Africa and in Liberia as a whole. So we must sit down and clean our house down, make these people to understand that look, this practice, our people been practicing it for years. Imagine, brothers and sisters, before I leave, before I land. In Monrovia, children were born with their mother took vaccine and all the things before they were born. They had complications. In the village, there were no vaccine given. No woman went 9 months with a pregnancy, eating healthy food and born healthy baby without complication. The midwives went around it and gave them birth. Their children grew up beautiful and healthy and strong. So we shouldn't sit here and pretend that people, are dying from this or have complications. I think it's just a way of controlling us. What's they going to throw to us next? What are they going to throw to us next for us to buy? I think this is a discussion that we need national. Yes.
Okay. Anybody want to speak on that? I want to change something quick before we wrap up here. Let's make it succinct.
I hope we get to the LU issue.
Yeah, I think
Get to
that's
the
what
LU
we
issue.
very
Let me
wonderful
say
for us to
something.
do.
Let me say something to the whole issue before.
Yeah.
No, hold on.
Solo, you gotta spare some of us a time.
Kamara, being patient.
You came and took over.
No, I apologize for the inconveniences, but the reason why I want to come back to it,
No, hold on. Don't come. You said trying to blow doors. Then how would
I will hold my peace. So I will stay.
You still have time. Yeah, come on. Let's just keep it strictly to the point.
But Mr. So, just to make this brief, because we've been dragging on the issue for quite a minute. This time around, I would like to piggyback right on what CZ said actually, because these are very important information. But first, before I get to that, let us all understand that the ambassador's idea of disseminating this information is not from a bad place. He understands that Liberia is a circular state, and you have the right to practice or do whatsoever you choose in that order. So I don't think he is just creating awareness. Now, secondly, the issue of FGM. It's a human right violation. Is a recognized woman or women and girls violations to human right. Now, to give it a little balance, I would say, being that we're a circular state, we believe in culture and tradition. These are our doings. These are our culture. They're accustomed to doing that. So the time in which Ciscoto was born, and a child born in the 21st century could have different effect. So we all know, we've had relationships that you encounter your partner having some type of issues as far as that. So we got to be conscious of these things. Now, just to be mutual here, this is where, as culturally driven people, we have to kind of meet halfway to say, okay, these are researches and there are results of people being harmed or things been happening to women that with these conditions. This practice is not only done in Africa or Liberia, it's done in Asia as well. So it's just not an African thing or Liberian thing. These are researches have been done on it. So that's why they're saying that it's against human rights and is a violation. But now, we being a cultural people, we have to come in and balance it out. We're educating the people on the disadvantages. And like CZ said, if they can come up and tell us the advantages of doing it, then we could all result to educating our people. That should be our point of focus, and not focusing on, well, we did it 200 years ago. It didn't do nothing. Well, that was 200 years ago.
Time is involved.
And that's why I would like to attribute to
that. And quickly here, I want us to be cognizant of conversation that we are having. If you hold on 1 second, please.
The
Hold
African
on,
people are the
Mr.
only
George.
people that always attach
Mr.
human rights
George.
when they come to the culture and things.
Mr. George, please
Yeah.
hold on 1 minute. I just want us to
Yes.
be cognizant of some of the conversation that we are having. I'm telling you, these are very serious things. And if you think people, if I say people, the very country we live in, people are not monitoring, of course they are. When it comes to people lying, people seeking asylum coming here in different forms, there were a lot of people were inflicted heavily in pains. So for us to maybe generalize they lie because 1 or 2%, of course, but we got to be very sensitive because there are other people who had a real case of pains being inflicted during the civil crisis, and based on that, they were also granted to be here. So when we bucket all that up, other people can easily capitalize on it to say, this is what we heard. And I can tell you for a fact, Kwame Opawis, who is now the Director General of the Liberian News Agency, when we were the voice of JIDE, there was an interview that I conducted. He accused somebody of being a rebel. And the person fled, went to Canada after almost 4 or 5 years, went to apply because the interview was transcribed. It came out, they said, this is who you are. Why you never reacted? Why you didn't say so? So I'm just saying this to say that there are some things we just got to keep our, I know we're going to get every information there, but some other information can be screenlined. Yeah, I just want to point that out. Go ahead, Amos George.
Yeah, I mean, this issue, I know Sisi, Koto, and myself, we are very careful how we speak about it. So, and I want to say this. People talk about human rights. I get that. But always, why only when they come to certain thing in Africa, that when they raise this issue about human rights violation, some of the people that go to this place, they go there on their own volition. Some of the children that goes there. And if you come up, because yes, a danger, the ambassador was carry a whole lot of weight. When he said to interpret the fee. So that's what's more saying, hey, this thing, we have to be very careful how we talk about it, because you're talking about 9,000 millions of people. It's practiced in Guinea, Sierra Leone, all the countries around Africa, not only Liberia. And someone who comes from this area is a bond that attached to me. If I go to Guinea, once I meet a Guinea man, he remembers that's my brother. So if I go there, the same thing. So we have to be very careful, because those who are not members, they have a different take of it. From yesterday, they had their own way of interpreting it. So I just want to say, so, all I said, if there's anything we can do to improve it, but for people who advocate it must be banned, I'm totally against it. I'm totally against those people who are advocating. The ambassador did not say, but there are others who are advocating to see it be limited, because they also use this thing to make money. They say they're advocating on people's behalf. They're getting money for it. But remember that you harming other people, you destroying other people's culture. So if this is the path, then we'll go, okay. I can say, okay, let the people give everything, but now we don't want to see any Masonic crime in Liberia. That we don't want to see no UBF. We don't want to see no All Fellows. We don't want to see no Eastern Star. We don't want to see no Mason.
Niall St. John.
Niall St. John, we don't want to see any. All those must be banned.
All right, guys, let's put it to an end.
There's a need to have a conversation with these people. But some people who are not even members of the ethnic group, who are not members of the culture, they are the ones making decisions on behalf of the people. And that's where some of my frustration comes from. If you don't talk, you should talk to people who are part of that practice. Maybe some people don't know. Right to Bangetan there. If anybody know Bangetan, they used to have a certain bush right in Bangetan there. There's a big cotton tree. I think 2 or 3 cotton trees were in Bangetan. And Labasi. Yeah, Labasi. Yes, Labasi. They used to have it there. Don't many people right there used to have it there. So what other for something just come down and become a very fundamental human rights issue.
All right, guys, in the last 20 minutes we have, we're going to extend the time, but let us bring in some educated aspects.
And that was the way of our education. Now, what's more of the people respect people because it was the education we got from those areas.
Okay, so okay, let's close the door on that. We're not going to Temple of Justice. I think folks mentioned about the UL, but something I would like for us to, not today, but moving forward, is the media aspect the ambassador talks about, because he knows the consequences of falsehood, for fake news, lies, subliminal messages. They are very, very, very much dangerous. And that is being proliferated on all of the social medias coming from different sources, even people that people really value. And how we frown on Jerome Verder here to sit and, on a major platform and say those things that he said, and the people were, they were unable to push in to ask. Only on Ashford Galley show, one of the panelists were pushing, and unfortunately, the people, viewers too, were getting a hurt, which is also sad. But I think that's a very critical component we need to talk about. How can this be contained? Because it's a very dangerous situation. We're seeing some other news outlet preaching the election will be rigged. The election will be this. Where is this information coming from? Where is the evidence? In as much the censor and all of the details are still inconclusive, we have to wait and see. The election will be rigged. So what happened when Alex Kumin wins the election? What happened when Ambassador Boyka wins the election? What happened when Tiawan Gonglo wins the election? Will we certify those elections results? We need to start creating a real awareness on these potential consequences, things that would derail our country. We need to avoid that. Sister talk about, okay, interestingly, this UL thing you started about is giving birth now to another guy who is calling himself the Field Marshal. Let's watch and see. We did put equipment Akara's Gray into trouble. Let's listen to this and we'll have a little conversation.
Well, gentlemen, ladies, thank you for coming. Yes. I just appeared on the Methodist radio to discuss issues relative to Liberian women. As concerning the child support law, we just discussed that we need to change the law so that a few men who do not support their children can be made to support their children in Liberia. We need stronger, very stronger laws to support our children. But that is besides the point. I did not expect to see you here. I really did not expect to see you here. I am a civil society actor and I work in civil society outside of government for the past 6 years. We have demonstrated to the Liberian people that we can live with or without government jobs. So that's not the issue. But you have called upon me to come on a rescue mission. You have called upon me to come on a rescue mission. You are telling me that there is one general going around the district attacking you. Go and tell that general that the Field Marshal is coming.
What? Things give birth to possible scenario and opening. General Wayne on campus, they call a rescuer by the name of Field Marshal. I don't know what his size of his platoon. That's the guy of the Independent Patriotic Patriot Council, right? Nive. I don't know whether the group is still alive yet, but he's coming to be the new Messiah to take the general Star Akara's Gray. That's the result of the UL incident, right? Sisse is giving birth to something. He's not aware, he's surprised. The politicians, they are very careful in making up their words. The guy then just went in, the Jack came from Methodist article radio station, and he just went there. Now, there are serious things going on in the country, and unfortunately, we have been so heavily distracted to the extent that we are not asking these people who are looking for these jobs, what are they bringing to the table, as to how they're going to do it differently than what we have, if we need to do any sort of replacement. Do you see him as a Field Marshal to disarm the general?
Oh, you're asking me?
Let me
let Otto go. That area. Let me deal with the military and the field marshal.
Let me tell you, CC, you're right to say let Otto go. Mr. So, thank you. I want to thank all my panelists. You see, Nouvelle, I would say I am somehow agreeing with him. You know why? Akaras Gray, he's a CDC, and he's a lawmaker. He's a House representative, right? Every funding that go to the University of Liberia comes from the House of Representatives, not the Senate. If you believe that you can make a change, you can make the University of Liberia through amendment, and they will change. Don't go there and try to bluffoo the people, and you and Yeke and other things, and you trying to make people to think that you are doing a good thing. You are a liar.
I agree with you.
Who's a liar?
Akalas Gray.
All right, I'm just asking.
Let me tell you this, Mr. So. If I am a representative for Clotidi, Kulabo District, Grand General County, and I'm sitting in the House of Representatives, and if you attack the vice president of the country, I will defund that university. The state that each and every one of us live in, you don't attack a government official. If you do that, there's consequences. These are the same people, when the budget comes to them, are the ones voting on it, right? Why are Canada Grace voting to fund the university then? If you're going to go there to have lunch. So that only lunch you can offer? What about offering the amendment of tuition free for all universities? It had to be executive order? I told you, Mr. So, I am a pro-government, but sometimes I buy both ways. Akaras Grave went there to antagonize and foster the violence of the area. I don't support it. Even on GST, I made that clear that I don't support the idea of he going there. There's a reason why. I support John Manning. We are president of the republic. His mandate is to keep the peace, not antagonizing people.
All right. So
the idea, before I finish, please let me land before you come in.
We gotta go.
I know you gotta go. You're gonna be here 2 hours, sis. I know. I watched the time. You got 4 hours.
No.
Sorry.
The man called 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours. Not bad.
I said I can see
John. Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold on. So let's make it brief. We are already going about the time. But this is what I'm saying. It's interesting that Sissy laughing, and he knows why he's laughing. You came here to aid.
Mr. So, please let Keto speak.
No, you're wrong, Mr. So.
Keto is coming. Hold on, Arthur. You came here purposely. You say you came here to aid Keto.
I never said that. No.
Oh, you said you're man here.
I said I'm a pro-government. I'm a constitutionalist. If you violate the Constitution, I will come after you. Whether you CDC or you Arizona coming, you are Joseph Boaka, I will come after you.
Okay, so Keto is a pro-GOL, but he's spinning in his chair right now.
The CDC, he's my brother. I know him very well.
So let me talk my way and go, because I soon get out of here.
Okay. Let me fire back.
Hey, Makoto, I'm begging you. Makoto, I was saying chicken to you. Let hear Keto, I'm begging you, Mama. I was saying
you want to fire. Since you want to fire, that's all you want. You want to fire, that's all you want. You drive you on the fire.
That unspeakable joy. I saw Jenna from Pa George. I won't cut it off right now. That's why I saw Jenna. Pa George. Unspeakable joy. So that's the thing here, right? And I know Solo won't be politically correct. But let me tell you something here.
But you want to we are correct.
Regardless of Akara's great position in our country, he's a Liberian first. Nobody has the right to stop any Liberian from going in any public space. If you tell me for expediency, not law, I would say, okay, I will listen to you because we want to keep the peace. But was Akara's great right to go on the campus? Yes. Akara's great going on that campus, there was no violence. The students went away. He stood on the campus for 2 hours. He left. Prior to Akara's great going on the campus, Soup were attacking the other people who supposed to be a supporter of Akara's great. When Akara's great got there, there was no rock thrown. there was nobody fighting. When he left, Yaka Koluba came in, the students came back and they started attacking people. So let me tell you something here. Today it has caused a national conversation where some of the things that I support, and that's where I say I differ with my brother, because student politics should remain on the campus of the university. They should be advocating for better university, infrastructure, good library, all those things, good teaching staff. They should be advocating for those stuff. They're not doing it and international politics. And that's where I got problem with them. And because they're attacking people from the government, and everybody sitting now blaming Akarake, even to the Dillon there, blaming Akarake. If Darius Dillon would have gone on campus and they would have stoned him, somebody were coming from the opposition to say those students were wrong. So let's put wrong to where it be, where it's supposed to be.
Is that what you wanted them to do if he had gone there?
I say if.
I gotta go. Let me talk about when
I
because
say if. No, because you're not going nowhere. If.
No, let us come in.
Now you say I'm going nowhere. I'm going somewhere.
I want you to listen to it because I saw all of y'all dancing. Y'all see one where clapping your hand and
I have to go so because of that you stay.
If I put your hand unspeakable joy, yeah, I saw it.
Okay, let her make her statement. We are already against the
Okay,
let my sister
unspeakable joy.
Got to go ahead before.
From the onset, I said this thing, and I still stand by what I said from the onset, even though that day my voice was very bad, and I thought I should actually say something about it. Akaragwe is a representative. That's his district. That is a big edge he has. He a representative, that's his district. And he is part of the CDC government. 3 things in his favor that he should have used instead of going on the campus there to raise chaos. He should have just called the president or write the president of the university. That would have just quieted down this. I see the president now, the thing he should have done long is what he's doing now, writing to ban student activities. That's not the right procedure. You should have put stop to that first and call those students, talk to them. You're talking about those students who have been asking for their school fees, and what did they do July 26th? Those were the student requests that they needed. All of their needs were listed, that it should make Liberia better. What did CDC government do? They send the COP, what they call, to go and beat them at the embassy, where they were not in the confinement or even the school or even in the mansion or even the senator, the legislature. The children went to the embassy and they ran behind it and beat them. That today, one of those students, I don't know, even his well-being as we speaking. So what do you want for the student to speak? They have problems that they have to raise. And that's their concern. You are sitting here, you're shaking your head. But there are many of these students that go to school, they don't even have food to eat. They don't have money to buy their pamphlets. And those are issues that are nearly to them and that they are raising. That people who are fishing on them are the people that are going on campus, which I do not tolerate. That they should handle it the way they handle it. But again, when you have a government that do not listen to its people, you will see a lot of these things happening.
Wow.
Firstly, the government, what the president should have done, call these students. Why are these things happening? Why did he stay there and fight until they see they ran behind one person, ran behind the second person, they ran behind the third person? The president of the university could not call those students to talk to them. The Dara Dillon are you talking about today? Dara Dillon was banned from going to the University of Liberia. Do you know that? And Dara have not gone there. The Ellen Johnson, President Ellen Johnson, was banned of going there because they said she could not speak in the town hall. She was not competent to speak there. She did not. So those are issues that issue that is young to those students. You can't just cut their feelings up and then raise a representative going there out like a rebel. That was being a rebel. That's a rebel activities.
Okay.
Let's leave it there.
Now you see what happening now. I said it the other day. The next thing you get went there. Now you see another group coming up. You will see variety, different groups will start coming out to defend this one thing. Then what are you creating? Chaotic situation. You who's supposed to be solving your problem in your government, you are raising tension in the government.
Let's leave it there, Koto. We gotta.
I want to say that's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, this is the
president.
situation. So, guys, I
Yeah.
know everybody going to put their last spin on it before we sign up, but hopefully in subsequent programs, the information, the dissemination aspect of news is very crucial to this process. The electoral process, not just on the before, but after. I mean, it's really getting over the top. Anywhere you go, people have their own news, where they're getting it from, the quoting sources. Nobody know who those sources. You never get those independent sources, but they are using those words cleverly as well. And that is a concern. I believe that's one of the cardinal reasons that ambassador putting that as an alarm, that's a caveat he's sending there. But before we go here this evening, let's do it here. You took, after forming a line with Amos George, Keto, you are getting to be like snake in the grass, blow and bite. Why? You're a good friend with Pat George. Why will you do this at the end of the program?
My Keto, when I'm on the phone, starts sending me text by you, disrupting my video.
I'm sorry. I won't say that bad text again.
Say another instigator. So what the message say?
Like the attention that you get.
Oh man, confidential message. They don't say.
Oh, so crossing over to CDC?
I want Pat George.
You will.
Don't start acting here. Okay?
No, the message need on e-marshal website. I'm gonna go check it. I don't mind.
What do you point here at one?
Ambassador.
Okay, guys.
You pretend I'm my back.
Before we go, Sese, any idea what we can get Jerome Verder evidence?
Hey, but you can ask the wrong. You have to put me in trouble. Yeah, Pat George. And Pat George, people there. Pat George.
Papa George, you answer that one.
But the thing that the man was saying that only Jerome Verder, it was not check from CDC that was giving all the info.
I thought I'll get her chicken, so I'll get
I thank you, yeah. Don't go there. Don't go there.
Don't say that Jerome Verder alone.
Not Jerome Verder alone.
No, check.
Can we have an order, please?
Come and take my time again. You see, I can start. I will block your number. So here's my situation, right? I really wanted to speak on the LU issue, but I wanted to give Keto and my brother Arthur some time to kind of do that little bit mud wrestling. I don't want to speak about the Carriage Gray issue, and because I think my brother, Mr. Solo, laid that to rest. So let me be very frank with you. The sitting lawmaker is not an ordinary Liberian. That's why, God forbid, if he ever dies, his body will be at the state capitol. At the Capitol building rotunda. Not every Liberian can die, the body go to the rotunda. So they are everybody not equal. At his disposal as a lawmaker and as the chair on governance, he wields a power. One of those was the power of the purge that my brother Solo spoke about. But another one is to call a hearing. I think the hearing should have been called from the minute the first time that McGill was chased off of that campus. A hearing should have been called. That was wrong. Call the university authorities, let them answer to you why they allow things like that to happen and what are the plans to curtail that before it happened to Samuel Tuer, before it happened to the First Lady, before it happened to Serena Seaford, before it came down to Aloysius.
The VP, don't forget.
That's why I said not the First Lady, but the VP. They should have held hearings. I Carriage Gray, and I'm not going to say anything derogatory about my brother because I said it is within his right, but just because things are right don't mean you get to do it. But I would have expected my brother Carriage Gray to have stood like a lion in the chambers of the legislature and called the authorities of the University Library and mandate things and tie money to it and tie their budget to mandates. If you don't do this, you don't get this money. That's why I expected my brother to stand like a general. But, we're all in Liberia. But the point I wanted to speak about, actually, is the issue of the president of the University of Liberia. I think, I don't even want to call him Dr. Nelson or Reverend Nelson. He should go. You do not, his action, his press statements are cowardly. And I will say it again, cowardly. You do not issue a press statement closing the University of Liberia campuses. You don't go on the air to announce it. So plenty people don't know. I don't even know if Akawas Green knew the university was closed. You do that in some kind of double flab and night broom thing. But the last few days, you've been having press conferences like crazy. And now you come out and institute a committee, a fact-finding committee, which is great. But instead of waiting for the findings of the committee, you take actions.
On a court of work of the committee.
Yeah, without even waiting. So why you form the committee? Why? You're taking actions, you're closing down the university, you are penalizing the 80% because it was not all LU students that were involved in that thing. It was not. You're limiting the learning, you're affecting the learning of a lot of people for 20% because you could not solve your 20% issue. I think it is a lack of leadership. And I think Dr. Professor, Pastor, Dr. Saulo Nelson needs to go. There has to be somebody that comes to the University of Liberia that will make sure the university is welcoming to all Liberians. Whether you support government or you don't support government, everybody should be allowed on that campus within the guidelines laid out. If I come to speak to that campus about female genital mutilation and there are people there who don't like it, they can protest, they can raise their voices, but they don't have to be physically violent towards me. And I think that is the problem on that LU campus. You can say the government is corrupt. You can say certain people are morally bankrupt. It is within your right to make placards when they come there to walk around and write it on there. These people are raw, people are thieves, but you do not have the God-given right to put your hands on somebody, to assert them, to restrict their free movement, and to say the University of Liberia that is funded by taxpayer dollars is a no-go zone for certain Liberians. It is wrong today. It was wrong yesterday. It was wrong in 1970, and people need to take action. And this is where I'm calling on my own cousin, Yaka Kolba, and my brother, Honorable Akawas Gray. I think the two of them need to co-sponsor a bill, need to call and in the budget, tie solutions to the funding of the University of Liberia, tie solutions to the pay and the pay increase to the president of the University of Liberia. They need to do that to make sure that the University of Liberia is safe and it's a place of free exchange of ideas, intellectual exchange of ideas. I can disagree with you, but I don't have to disrespect you. I don't have to bodily harm you. I don't have to stop your free movement. And I think this is where I think the Reverend Dr. Professor Nelson has failed and he needs to go.
He needs to go. To be dismissed?
Fired.
Yeah. He needs to go, but let me just add something. Mr. Kelly,
right.
Man by nature is a political animal. You cannot have people at the University of Liberia and saying that they're not supposed to talk about politics. They should only focus on learning. What the politics on campus was centered around. Tell me, when you don't have your classroom is leaking, your bathroom is not working. So you should not speak about it. And it is government funded institution. So it means that someone is not putting the fund that belongs there. And if it is not putting that there, of course, it becomes concerning to me who goes there to raise their voice as national leaders. So you can't say, oh, the people, they are only there to learn, they're not supposed to engage in politics outside of the campus. No. They're being affected by policy maker. The policy the people in authority take, they affect them. So they have to discuss it. Or you can say they must be respectful. That's why I will agree with you. They should not be violent towards anybody, but the issue should be discussed. So that's my problem with you. Don't say, you always say, oh, they're not supposed to be involved in politics. No. What affects you is what you're going to talk about. And those who are supposed to make the decision to help you, if they are not doing that, you're supposed to hold them accountable. And those are national leaders.
Guys. All right, let's give the other people to do their last closing before
Let them do their last closing, but I got to run. Prince, nice seeing you. After, always seeing you. Keto, I'm blocking your number from today.
Okay. All right, Prince,
So
let's go.
Okay.
You say what?
I said, can I from Sarah? You know.
You want from Bon County Union here?
Oh yeah, all that area that I'm there.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's hear from you, Prince, quickly.
I mean, we basically covered almost everything that we needed to, and everyone stated their fair opinion. And just to close up, I would like to say, Mr. Pat George being from Fiamma and things like that, and me being, a 80s baby, I would like to say, this pretending the female genital mutilation part. Growing up in Cinco, being a kid from Cinco, Pat George knows that we had a gravel bush in what you might call it, Bangetan, right? And these things weren't celebrated; they were demonized. If you can remember, as children, they used to tell us, "Y'all stay away from that place. That place, that gravel bush. Now, good thing that can happen now. If the people catch you there, they would do this, they would do that." So now this is where we need to integrate and kind of work together with modern science and things like that, going back to our culture and tradition. So just to close up on this, I'd like to say our traditional leaders need to do better. The people that support that cause from the various societies, whether women or men, need to come forward with their traditional beliefs and contact the gender ministry and work together to kind of make people understand the reasons or why these things are done. If you ask me, I don't know why it is. Honest, I would tell you, I don't know why it's being done.
Basically, you are calling for some sort of real public awareness, and they shouldn't assume that everybody knows the meaning of
Right,
Education.
right, right.
Okay. All right. Let's hear from you, Atot. What are you leaving us with? We'll go to the Constitution state later to wrap it up to see whether any infringement been done here this evening. He's reviewing the Constitution, so we're going to give him a chance. But let's hear from you, Solo, Mr. Solo.
Thank you, Mr. So. One of the reasons why I love your show is that you have total and complete independence of your show. That's why I love it. And I love all my panelists because we had diverse view and we can agree to disagree. My brother Prince, the idea of the Poor and Senate Society, you got to be part of it to understand it. No one in America ever decommissioned the CIA.
What makes you think I'm not part of it?
Yes, you could be part of it, but you are not well invested. You have to have ranks. I'm speaking to you. My father is a Queen Jody from Glio. He owned Queen for 20 years. Before he was chief for 8 years, but he owned Queen for 20 years, so that you put that into account.
Mr. Solo, right?
Let me finish.
I do appreciate you,
the reason why I'm telling you.
But you also do not know my heritage background.
I don't, but from your explanation, you just agree with Mr. Amos.
Background.
Mr. Amos said that all the people used to tell us, don't go over there.
We'll do it one at a time, please, guys.
Right. They told you and Amos just agree that, oh, don't go over that, wrong people over there, they'll do this. Let me tell you what. These are the saying of the other elite in the country that disapprove of the organization because they are not part of it. In America, the CIA, the IRS, the DIA, I don't see anybody decommission them because you cannot. The whole vast intelligence, which is secrecy. In our own Africa, we must always respect ourselves before the Westerners respect us. Other than that, we'll just keep moving. They just take 3 steps. We're not telling you to go all the way back in the room, but just take 3 steps away from me. You take that 3 steps, and then next, it will be 4 steps. The next 6, it will be just like that until you end up at the back of the room. That's how the Nazi Germany did it. That's how the Nazi did it. They told you that Hitler was democratically elected. Now, let's talk about issues. And there's the reason why I love my senior brother, Mr. So, and all my brothers on this show. Because this show is very important to our people. If I support the CDC government, Carlos Gray is part of the CDC government. He sits on the executive committee. If you chase my vice president out of the camper of the or taxpayer money, I will defund that whole area. They will say Akaros Gray is responsible today that the University of Abroad get public funding because you changed my vice president, the second constitution in the country. Are you out of your mind? Try that in Cote d'Ivoire. You will see what happened to you. Try that in Rwanda. You'll see what happened. Try that in South Africa. Even when they have the EFF, the freedom fighter, economic freedom fighter, you see what happened to you. But we, the Liberians, we always in the vanguard of defending wrong. That's the problem we have. I kind of don't want to show real power. Go to the house, call the university or administrator, sit them down and say, what the hell will you chase the second constitution of the republic out of your campus? It did not get good reasoning. All of them, their paycheck is zap, it's gone. Fucking gone. It's gone. Who's gonna blame you? Nobody. But they are the one feeding this monster, and it's growing every day. They said, let's stay on campus. How can they stay on campus when people like J.K. Koluba did not graduate from high school, but they can go to LU and go start up things? Mr. Soul, let me tell you, my senior brother, what you do is very important, and I thank God that you were here. My brother Walter Keto may disagree with me because we are from the CDC background. As I'm speaking to you, on GST, I always make it clear that Mr. Akaros Gray do not have the requisite to go on our campus and say, I have a dinner. You want to have a dinner? Make it official. Take the committee that are responsible for the university to the university that go investigate. The House have that power. Every financial bill in the Republic of Liberia started from the House. You can defund the entire university, and you can revise it, you can replace it. But we're not doing that. We want to play Yeke Koluba. We want to play Nobel.
Thank you so much. Okay, Wharton.
Yes.
My prediction was quite in place. I'm not. I told you I'm not sure whether this guy who came on a rescue mission is firing bazooka to let you go. So it's like you left in crossfire in the lion's den. But this is the beauty of this network. People disagree and disagree. That his opinion, that his view, even though he supports the government, but that's how he sees it. So wrap it up before we go.
So you see the diversity in our support for this government and president. I got my own brother on my team that can differ with me and I can differ with him, but we can come to a place where we understand each other. And I understand where he comes from. And the thing about it, he's right. He's right. You know, Akaros Gray from the House, they are the ones that make the laws. They are the ones should be. They call other official of government to come when they don't have understanding to make some clarification. And they should do the same with the University of Bureau. I just thought enough is enough. When you have people challenging, and this is not just unique to
based on what your brother said, you were on the wrong side of history.
Who, me? No, I'm still on the right side of history.
Not so much.
I mean, I say
you're still defending the undefensible.
No, it's not undefensible.
Well, how can he be right to say enough is enough? You give him just
his opinion. He's right to his opinion, and I say he's right to his opinion, and I understand it.
Because all right, if he's right to your opinion, then that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that way I come from. We would disagree to agree, and this the beauty of this government and the people that support the government. We're not going to throw each other on the bus. But let me tell you something, brother. So, look, when I hear people try to shift blame because Pa George says Cotto,
let it perfect me. What? Yeah. I think I gotta swap your name. Wait on George and then George.
The table turn by George tonight.
He needs to have some CDC dream, eh?
But Pa George is the common enemy. Pa George is the common enemy.
ANC man.
And I basically Papto, I don't know. I just basically Papto big time. But anyway, welcome back, Papto. So no, but on a serious note, right? This the thing here, brother. So you know, when the ambassador spoke, that part that was highlighted that he talked, he said, I got two things to mention. All right. He was not mentioning about your platform that bring objectivity to the discourse. He was not mentioning Gilman platform that also bring objectivity to the discourse. Look at look. You see, Pajana style again. He's trying to interrupt me. he was actually talking about those people who are preaching doomsday's messages that will be that has the potential of carrying our country back. And what I'm saying to all of us here, we can have the discourse. We can talk about the ills in our society. How can we solve it? Who making this problem? Who creating this? Who is not competent to do this? We can talk all that. Those are serious concern. But when we go to the place where we start to put people at each other, that it will cause friction big time, then you cross the line. And that's where he spoke from. And I hope this platform can be that message. I mean, that medium where we can, be positive in our conversation. And, like I differ with Pat George, he differ with me. He call me on certain, I call him on certain with any other panelists here, and that's the beauty of the conversation. But it would be dangerous for me to get on my platform, on this platform, and say Yeke Koluba killed somebody in Liberia. I do not have one evidence. I'm talking about now. I'm not talking about before. I cannot say that on this platform. You understand? And that's sad. That's what we're supposed to condemn. And that's what the ambassador openly said, that police, when asked by police, the individual could not even give any evidence. So who are you speaking
All right,
to?
gentlemen, thank you so much. What a great conversation. Arthur, thank you so much, man, Prince. So Arthur, Prince, and Wharton, they are on the same boat in different versions, and some disagreement can be there. That is okay. We should solve.
So you ready for sale? You force it.
It's
You always drinking back to it, right?
No, that's a beauty. George to get his friend here, Dr. George Toto. Is a no. Where all his men going along for the 7,000?
Pa George, Pa George, we all our single to you.
Solo.
Yeah.
Dollar care is an ANC guy, but they send him like bro, the 70,000 will go.
Prince, let me ask you. You want to come out? They come out from ICA camp?
Actually, my dad is Jalakeke Kamara, Ambassador Jalakeke Kamara.
Oh, I know. Okay, I know.
Director General for Culture and Tourism.
Yes, I think I heard that name. Yeah, that's what I was.
So
information from the Information Ministry.
Before we go, right? Why not the media, because they're ambassador? That's what I like about Americans. They are very media friendly. If they will speak, they will speak. They will not speak. Why not media institution reach out to the ambassador for some clarification? So what?
They're afraid. They're afraid.
Who they?
The media.
That's a
Mr.
shame.
So, let me tell you this. Only you might have the guts to do it, but not the rest of the people.
Why?
Let me tell you why. Before Keto come in, let me tell you why. Take Vodia, for instance, when the police questioned him, why he backed down? Because the ambassador was there on that call.
Vodia is what he did is a disgrace, not only to him,
now,
but to the commission. I mean, we talk about it here, and people are supporting that.
Let me ask you, will you take Henry Costa on that call? Will you take Henry Costa on that call? You think what happened to a permanent residency call?
Ambassador on our call.
What?
How you got that information?
Because I have inside source too, not just you. We all come from Liberia.
All right, guys.
I have inside source, Mr. Evans.
I think I need to contact. I think that's a good one. I think I need to.
No, actually, Mr. So, let me tell you on the medium. I have inside source. I will link to that call. I have people. I have even my sister-in-law work for the police or the national police. And I call her. They say you can Google her. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Yeah. Good night.
Thank you,
we
love you, brother.
Also looking forward to the new week for more comfort. But I think what I want us to really focus on these subliminal messages coming from news outlet, be it the government, pro-government, opposition. They are dangerous, especially with this fake election will be rigged. Election will be rigged. I don't know where it's coming from.
Mr. So,
that's the scenes. That's what Donald Trump was preaching in this country.
Mr.
I believe that They will do this, they will do that. And when you sell this thing out to the people, they believe it, and they eventually perfect it into action by doing
Mr. So,
crazy.
let me tell you this before my brother come in. This
Without having nobody coming in again, come and go.
This your only platform is the only platform that talking about election will be rigged. Other platform talking about people will get killed when they not get the result right.
No, I'm not talking. I'm saying I don't know where they are coming from.
No, I know, but the reason why I'm saying this, even you, you are the only person that is civil enough to say people are saying. But what we're hearing from even people that we know is calling for chaos. Only you that saying that put it in the civil matter say the election will be rigged. Other people saying when the election is rigged, we will kill that person here. That's what they telling. That's what they telling people. Only you don't spread that message because you are civil.
George, you say want to say something before we go quickly?
Mr. Solo, please tell your people to be on top of the information. Because if the information is not forthcoming, then they will create a vacuum.
Which people are you talking about now?
It was something else different.
Which people?
Who people motel for?
Your government.
I'm a pro-government, doesn't mean I'm a government.
You just told me you just told me say your sister is the top bride in the police force.
No, but it's the thing here.
I never said top bride.
Joyce. Yeah, it's the thing here. When information, and I always say that here.
Information must be protected.
Here, I did call Moses Keto multiple times.
Yes.
If I call you, if I send an email, either by text or whatever, I give you the opportunity, one or two. If you don't respond, then I have the obligation to come back to tell you, hey, this is what happened. I reached out, but he is not responding. But if they are reaching out to those people and they are not responding, they need to tell us. You can't assume that it's happening. And I know they are not, most of them, they are not for, which is also true, but they need to tell people, look, like even like what I was talking about the ambassador, it's a controversial issue. We are having this conversation here. The conversation is going out. The media is all about going to get the news. You don't convict people without giving them the opportunity to talk to them. It's not an assumption. You assume this is what the man is saying. Put it on record. Talk to them and see. If you ask for interview, if they refuse interview, then you come and tell the public, look, you said the man said X, Y, Z, and it becomes a public conversation. We wanted to get a clarification, but the man is not willing to talk to the media or talk to the press.
But Mr. So, even to Mr. Amos George there, if I even had inside source information to give to Mr. So here, if I say I want to remain unanimous, you think he will give it to you? Even if you take in the court, he will go to jail. That's a journalistic ethics. You say, no, I'm not giving out my source. So if I have
who does that? Okay, guys, thank you so much.
So before you go, that information, the information that came from the ambassador was straight to the point. He didn't say the media. He didn't just blanket the media.
No,
he said
I'm saying. I'm talking about which is cool. I don't know why people took offense to that, to say that, oh, the other people think they are benefited from what he's looking at a long-term, the repercussion. If this continues, he's trying to avoid us managing crisis because we are not good at managing crisis. We are good at creating crisis. That's what the ambassador is saying, and people think now that he hate Sabi and like Sabi or like Sabi. It's crazy.
That's exactly what you're saying. Look, if we're not careful, Mr. So, you see the Nigerian election, up to now, they're still fighting over the result. Everybody,
but Solo, right? I would just like to say we're not gonna have that. But
no.
But to piggyback on what you guys are saying, right? When you lack the moral integrity of disseminating information for people like Costa and so forth, these are the results you get. Because they sit on the platform.
Oh, you know what I see. I don't want to relegate this conversation. You know what I see? It is so disappointing. Both the government and the opposition's supporters that sit on the media outlet. I see people that sit 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours like myself. You talk about the opponent wrongs, and you are unable to tell the audience what your candidate can produce. What sense does that make? So what are you saying? What's the content? What's the content of your message?
No,
That
that
statement
is
not
no,
correct, brother
Mr.
Prince.
So.
That statement is
tell
not
you.
correct.
Mr. So.
Let me
Prince,
tell
let me tell you something he said.
No, listen, that's my view. What I'm saying,
Yeah, that's your view.
if
But
I'm
let me
supporting,
clarify your view. That
if I'm
view that you
supporting
hold,
Boyka here, right?
that view
I
that you
come here
hold.
for
So
2
the
hours.
people on the platform now,
I come in 1
see
second.
this
If I'm
platform here.
supporting
Yeah,
Boyka or
Prince
Philip
Prince want to talk.
or
Yeah,
even the
Prince
president,
can't
if
talk.
I'm defending their position, if I'm here for 2
Can't
hours,
talk.
1 hour, 30 minutes will be used to tell my audience the good of my candidate.
The pro-government does.
The 30 minutes would be used to draw the contrast why you should not vote for this person.
Mr. So.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to talk about president wearing shoe and then person that gave this.
Mr. So.
That's a waste of time.
Mr. So, to clarify that, pro-government media does that. They put their platform and the government agenda up front, and then they trying to.
Where's the pro-government media platform?
Oh, I would say, for instance, like Honor the Palaba House GST will put up front the pro-government media, the pro-agenda.
They ready to cause boycott to the you talking about?
No. GST do not cause boycott. GST not even tolerate insult.
What?
Even you knows that. But
all right, guys.
The idea is the pro-government media is not sufficient.
Let's leave it
based on the negative.
I'm just saying it's sort of frustrating because
you see,
for their people. Why are they not telling us what their candidates actually represent?
Pardon is for you. The Pardon ANC. They cannot stipulate what their candidate can do, but they couldn't know how to question.
Okay. I will quite so get
General Jamba a Seuriol.
All right, guys, that's how we're going to leave here this evening. Thank you so much for your time, for your effort. But in the meantime, before we go, there will be a big book launch in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. That is on March 22nd at 1 p.m. local time. LPR is doing everything possibly can to bring you the live images from Liberia. The book is still here. It's called Liberty Hijack. It's written by Kai Jerowle. So we still have the book in stock, Liberty Hijack. If you read this book, you will know details. You will know a lot about your country. You will be able to argue us, and you will be able to know how your liberty been seized. You will get to know how this name called political leaders, our political leaders, every party, no chairman, no secretary, they don't have no account, political leader. If you read this book is available on Amazon, Liberty Hijack, the histories of how the loss of liberty divides Liberia. It is a scholarly book, well loaded. $20. If you are within the New England belt, let me know it. Or just go on Amazon. I'm telling you, read this book, you will know. Should you still be calling your guy political leader or not? Or will you have a second thought about your country? How they got to this point of being the political leader? The 1955 elections in Liberia. The in-depth, this book gave detail and unearth hidden facts about your country that you do not know. It's loaded with information. Written by Minister Kai Jerowle, a former government official and legendary award-winning journalist. That's the book. This book will be launching in Liberia. Massive preparations is in the making. It's available on Amazon. You just type his name, K-A-R, middle name G-W-L-E-H. Or you just write it, the name of the book is Liberty Hijack. It's going to pop up right on Amazon. Do yourself a favor, get a copy. Trust me, if you read it, you will have a second thought about your country and how people are treating your country. Why should you call these people your political leader? On what basis? Thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening.
Le parrain permanent, Herniantier. So man on the way man, mon papa, mon ce que la rock. The way the grew my grew the way man. Sabrina, where planet and not moment in Nia. General Jamba Jamba, a Seuriolo. Monta Doctor one boy, the way man, make our bang one glass. And he said, the block, merci beaucoup.
Yeah, that's the songwriter where you say they vote, you one vote, you get money. Election is about money. You broke and you say you want to be president, you want to be senator, you know how many dollars spent just on campaigns, advertisement, commercials, flyers, and all of that. That's the song from neighboring La Cote d'Ivoire. Do you have money? You want vote? You sure you want vote? It's not you change 200, 300, 1,000, you go spend it, people sing. No, that's not what's going to win you elections. Elections are costly. But I want to thank you. If this is the first time right here on the Liberia Public Radio, this is a tradition. We sometimes our conversation does not necessarily pivot in the way you want it to go. We don't necessarily tell you what you want to hear, but we do tell you what you need to know. Of course, you also have all right to disagree with us. And this is what this platform is being represented by diverse political background, open-minded people discuss the issue in a civilized context. They agree and disagree, but they push the lines of their candidate to make an argument, and you must be persuasive. And that's what we want all of these people to do. If you want me to support you, if you want somebody to support your candidate, invite them, sit at a conference and tell them what your candidate can do or offer for the country. We don't see that happen. Bitterness, resentment, names calling. Those are not types of propaganda in itself. It doesn't help. And so our country, all it does is going to make our country more vulnerable to bad people, bad governance, bad policy, by administrative decisions. And we want to encourage everybody to register to vote. And this concept of election will be rigged, I'm finding it very difficult. I'm trying to figure out how they are coming to this point. Who is going to rig the election? So whose benefit will it be? What happened when Mr. X win the elections? Should we then certify the results of the election? Or if Mr. B win, then it's a rig? People needs to get their butt up, go and talk to the Liberian people, make their case be convincing, be more or less engaging, and tell them why you want to be. We have not seen anything yet. Why are we still waiting for all of the details of NEC? Whatever preliminary that is coming out, it's unfair to draw a line and draw the comprehensive conclusion that based on this issue, and people just speculate, and throw all sort of wrong and bad information out there. That's the basis of the ambassador. That's what he was saying. Wrong information. You saw what happened in Rwanda. One single war can flame the country into danger. That's the concept we should get. And that's what we need to understand. Not because of your self-greediness or you want any harm on planet of your God to win. And there's nothing guaranteed that even or he or she wins it, you're going to get anything. You're talking all now, all the vain stressing. If they win it tomorrow, after 1 month, 2 more, then I call you in government, then you come back and start telling us these people are bad people. Like what we're seeing some of these people that are doing now. UG Fagon, the Wozi, I can call name. They were in government before. They stayed there. They never got out when things were going bad, but they did some other things and government took exception. They fired them. They turned to little chihuahua and screaming all over the place. The other side celebrating. They helped to raise the alligator that is now eating its own children, and they turn around to celebrate them. They are not honest. They are not patriotic. They don't love Liberia. You defended the government before. You tell people hush when you needed not to do that. But the covenants got broken and the hormones of the government came upon you. Now you turn like a renegade soldier. You know who was a renegade soldier? Renegade soldiers, when soldier man goes on the battlefront and your commander dies, everybody on their own, no one takes instruction. That's how some of them are behaving. And that is not fair for the country. So these people, they need to tell us, they need to apologize to us for making some wrong choices, for making some wrong decisions, for defending wrong position. We're not asking them. So what is the guarantee now that tomorrow they won't do the same thing? They're just after their ballot. They don't have the country at heart. And we need to tell them. Somebody got to expose them. Liberia Public Radio here is to take on these things. We want to make the conversation proportional, fair, and balanced. We do not convict people without giving them a fair trial in court. And that's how it's supposed to be. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Everybody, everything's going bad. The situation getting worse. Everybody in the country getting mad. Dishonesty, poverty on the rise. The leaders them making empty promises. Promises with no damn strategies. Yeah, this is better days, money in your pockets. Oh, after holidays only for the bosses. Yeah, there's a better days, money in your pockets. Holidays only for the bosses. Oh yo, hey, what about the children? What about the people? What about your families? What are they gonna eat? Yeah, so Septi and we waiting. Yeah, so. They don't really care about you. They don't care, my people, it's true. They don't want to see you break through. The whole country's getting confused. Corruption, no question. The country's going in the wrong direction.